Hey guys. This is part 2 of What If Naruto Was a Fox Summoner. Hit like and subscribe if you like this one, and also please check the author in the description. Let's start.
We are pain, that's all. We are God.
Chapter 4. Any luck? Naruto asked as he walked into the training ground, before wincing at a massive eruption of fire. Ouch! Sakura walked over, panting. Phew! Finally got that fire big ball Rasengan down. Anyway, apart from that, not really. Several ideas but nothing concrete. Well, a mission came in and the Hokage assigned it to us. Why? Sakura asked. We're assigned to a mission in a month and to train for that, right? Naruto shrugged. Seems that the old man decided that a good test for fighting a Bijou would be if we got all the missions related to other sorts of demons. In this case, demon country. I have to admit, it'd be interesting if I can apply that suppression seal of mine to a resisting target. Sakura mused. Right, I'll go get Sasuke. What's he been doing? Messing around with the more esoteric sides of the lightning element. He said he got some interesting ideas after seeing the iron sand in that last battle. A greasy feeling developed in the air, like standing near a power line. Static sparks hummed on exposed metal tips. Sasuke pointed the hilt of the Raijin towards a large hill, one that already bore the scorch marks of heavy use as a technique practice backstop. With his offhand, he took a small coin and dropped it, igniting the legendary weapon. There was a bang, a hiss, and molten metal splattered on the ground. He sighed. This should work, but he couldn't quite make it. A pity, really, as if he could have had the potential to match some of the great historical S-rank techniques. Forget the Chidori and all its manifold variants. This one was his answer to Naruto's Raisin Shuriken. It was just too hard to shape the electric field that precisely. Yet, he knew the Raikage could use lightning as an armor, so there was nothing theoretical against it. Perhaps if he used metal supports to hold the charges required? Sasuke! Sakura came running up with details of their latest mission, and he filed away the prospect for later. So, Demon Country sent for aid. Sasuke's Sharingan flicked off, having memorized the order scroll. Yes. We need to go protect their high priestess, which of course means we need to work out a bodyguard plan. Sakura began flicking through her library of illusions. 20 or so shape-shifted shadow clones a good start? Naruto asked, and gestured for the team to move out. Let's see. I think I can get Kuda to hide on her for a bit, which will allow him to summon me to her if she's in immediate danger. Any details of the opposition? Sasuke shook his head. The details said that all their Jonin, there are only 3 of them in the country, are accounted for, so that's good news. Sakura took over. Bad news, though, is that Morio's a demon who is known for giving his subordinates upgrades that amount to something not unlike the cursed seal. Extra chakra source, more potent, that sort of thing. Both the boys glanced at her. You're the one with the most spiritual knowledge. What does demon mean in this case? She closed her eyes, rolling the name around in her head. Morio. Demon country demons are all pure black chakra, which means they're unnatural and powerful, but for the most part their bodies are weak. They're not anchored to the world like we are, so their chakra doesn't regenerate without a connection to a more powerful source. Morio's name means. I think it's an echo of his true name. Most exotic chakra beings have common names related to their true names. And I'm getting a sense of the many. So you think he's a sufficient source of power then? Yes. Above a certain point, inhuman chakra becomes alive like human chakra always is and is self-regenerating. Naruto shrugged. So much for just letting him exhaust himself. Anything else? Yes. Morio appears in legends, indeed, in some history books. He tried to conquer the world with some kind of terracotta army, but didn't get far, and all the soldiers of it were sealed away with his mind in one shrine, his body in another. And if one of the shrines was attacked, then it's going to have been the one with the mind. Naruto said with certainty. The others looked at him. What? Minds weigh less than bodies. Imagine carrying a demon body dozens of miles to the mind shrine. Okay. So we need to keep an eye out for enhanced soldiers. Sasuke brought them back on topic. And some kind of terracotta army. That one will be hard to deal with. Terracotta's an excellent insulator and means that the offensive elements don't work well against it. Would it be bad form for me to go chakra cloak? Naruto asked innocently. Bad form? More like, never even try it. Sakura said. It's a country whose entire point is containing demons. Having one of the 9 apparently breaking free would mean they'd forget going after Morio and switch to you. Naruto winced. Right, forget that. He nodded to himself abruptly. Okay, Sakura should be the close-in support. She's got the most options. Sasuke, scout high and let us know if anything's coming in, then engage. I'll keep out a clone perimeter out and go for whoever Sasuke's not. Sasuke nodded his approval. Works for me. Infiltration countermeasures? You too, and I'll stop to recharge Sage Mode every few minutes. Should give us enough warning. Sasuke then smiled slightly. Convenient. We get a live fire test of our newest techniques. Pity I didn't make much progress on my current one though. Which current one's that? Sakura asked with a grin. Don't most of them use current? Nice one, Sakura. Sasuke rolled his eyes. You're corrupting her, Naruto. Ah. Good. The ninja have arrived. Cheyenne looked over Team 7. I have to say, I am less than impressed. Naruto scratched the back of his head. Yeah, we get that a lot. Haiden and Kakuzu could correct you there, though. Cheyenne blinked, then looked more closely at him. You have some kind of taint to you. I can't tell what kind. Then she looked at the others. And both of you as well. Why? I've got Kami blood way back in my family tree. Sakura shrugged. Less sure about where Naruto and Sasuke get their traits from ultimately, but both are descended from the Sage of Six Paths, I see. Cheyenne frowned. So, which of you is the strongest? Sakura and Sasuke pointed to Naruto. Skill is something we have much more of. Sasuke began. But in terms of pure strength, you can't beat Naruto. Naruto pouted. That's mean. Good. Cheyenne said. That means he will be the one to carry me. Wait, what? Then Cheyenne's eyes flickered into a strange purple pattern. When they stopped, she looked Naruto in the eye. You are going to die. Naruto winced, then shrugged. Kinda figured. When? At the age of 93, with Konohamaru as the 6th? No. In the next few days. Morio's soldiers will kill you. Sasuke frowned. How? And how do you know? I see the future. And sometimes I predict the death of someone near me. That's why there's so few attendants actually here in the inner sanctum. They're afraid of it happening to them. I repeat. How? Cheyenne went over the received memory of the future. In it, she had been stabbed in both lungs. So, as usual, she explained to one of the people around her that they would die in this manner, thus changing the future so they would protect her fatalistically, and she would survive. It was a cruel and heartless thing to do, maybe. But she had to do it, only she could seal Morio. It was for the good of everyone. Naruto snickered. That's it. Did you actually see me die? No, but it's obvious you did. Nobody survives having punctured lungs. Actually, Naruto can regenerate. Hell, I think Sasuke took out half his liver when he first tested the sharp spear and misjudged the length. The Jinchuriki winced with the memory. Yeah, that kinda stone. So don't worry, I'll be fine. Cheyenne braced herself for another future vision. Nothing. Well, that was either very bad or very good. Either she'd die to the method she'd just seen, or she'd live. Actually, Naruto, thinking about it. Sakura mused. Might be a good idea if she had some kind of body armor. She's not got a conditioned body like we do. If people are going to be throwing around ranged stuff? Good thought. Naruto thought for a moment. Tell you what, I'll lend her my Chunin vest. That'll stop most bladed weapons, and I'll just substitute it with a Sage charge up. Both his teammates eyed it with some distaste as he took it off. What possessed you to dye it orange anyway? Naruto shrugged, and handed it to Cheyenne. It's my color scheme. My mom was the red-haired habanero, my dad was the yellow flash. It's frankly inevitable. I'm almost annoyed that my nickname has nothing about orange in it. Demon Wind is good enough, quit it. Remember, one of the Kage stone is called Inoki the Fence-Sitter. Cheyenne winced despite herself. That's the name of a ruler? Yep. Old Man Hokage has a much cooler one. Naruto hoisted her onto his back. He's called the God of Shinobi, or the Professor. Well, we better get going. Where's that shrine with the body of the demon? Swamp Country. Naruto let her down again. That far? Sasuke, you up to giving us some transport? Sasuke nodded. Better do it outside, though. They don't like buildings. Oh, Cheyenne said suddenly. We better get to Roho, my arms man. Where's he then? He showed us into the building, Naruto. Sakura sighed. Wow. This is amazing. Cheyenne laughed, raising her arms above her and feeling the rush of air over them. Naruto made sure he had a proper grip on her. It wouldn't be good if the priestess of Demon Country fell off the hawk, after all. I'm sorry. Pardon? Naruto frowned, looking more closely at her. Her entire demeanor had changed in just the last few seconds. I said I'm sorry. When I told you that you were going to die, that wasn't true. I was going to die. It's how my power of prediction works. My soul jumps back in time after I die, and then I tell someone else they're going to die, and that way I survive. Naruto shrugged. Not a problem to me. But it might work better if you just said you'd received a vision of your own death and gave all the details you could. That way they'd be able to protect you better, right? She smiled. I suppose I'm unlikely to get stabbed in a forest today. The gang of four continued their stakeout of Cheyenne's shrine. Boss? Shizuka ventured. How long are those ninja going to be in there? Kusina shrugged. Let's force them out. Jitai took in his dark chakra enhancement and slammed all four hands on the ground, sending bombs to blow up the structure. They watched as the dust settled. Did we just kill them? Setsuna frowned. Who did our recon genin say the Konoha team was again? 3 of the 4 seasons, I think. Kusuna volunteered. You idiots, they have 2 flight-capable ninja on that team. They might have left hours ago. We'll have to go and head them off before they reach Lord Morio's body. Kusuna gave Setsuna a glare for showing him up, then recharged Jitai's serpent, and they all began running for swamp country. Hey, look! Sakura pointed, and the rest of the group spotted the terracotta army standing guard outside a structure below. Cheyenne frowned. I think that's the other shrine. They must have got here before us. The 3 ninja exchanged speculative glances. Naruto came to a decision first. Sasuke, I need to get on solid ground to charge up my sage mode, but once I am, I'll cut you a path. Got it. Sakura, bring Cheyenne with you. Sasuke tapped the wing of his mount, which began to slip sideways in the air towards a nearby hill. What? You're going to stay behind, Naruto? Cheyenne asked. Until those stone things are all destroyed. Naruto was unusually grim as he jumped down with the priestess. Those things leveled villages on the way here. I want them gone. Once they were on the ground, he passed her to Sakura, who was enveloping herself in a haze of water, and began to concentrate. Cheyenne watched, intrigued, as Naruto's chakra morphed into something else unusual, and his eyes slit. You ready, guys? Naruto asked. I'll start blowing them up, then work my way left. You head right. Both the others nodded, so Naruto formed a trio of clones and built himself a Raisin Shuriken. The army of ghosts turned, sensing in some way a new threat to their master. Then some of them blew up. Sasuke's Sharingan blazed. Naruto, you got full destruction of them within 10 feet of the epicenter. 10 feet beyond that their mission killed, but after that the stone armor seems to have stopped the wind chakra doing enough damage. I'd say switch to close-in. Got it. One of the 3 clones dispersed, and another 2 formed to continue charging. Okay, 2 wind Rasengan each I think, and I'll do blades. The Narutos leapt into the thick of the battle. Sasuke cloaked his presence with a fairly generic invisibility illusion. The constructs seemed to be more than mere golems, but he couldn't take the risk of the more esoteric Sharingan perception illusion. Glancing over at Sakura, he saw she'd done the same and added a neat little mist trick on top of that, using the droplets of chakra-saturated water in the air to refract her position relative to the mist. Nice. Can you keep that up for long? Sakura nodded confidently. Once the water's chakra charged, it takes very little power to keep it in place. And it's also reconstitutable into a quick-cutting water dance. I approve. Okay, I'll go in 5. A massive detonation sounded from the valley below, where one of Naruto's clones had fired off something that looked a lot like the Atsugai technique Kakuzu used. Another, which Sasuke guessed was the original since it had the chakra blades coming from elbows, knees and fingers, began the 3rd form of the fox style, savaging a pair of opponents, then leaping back into empty ground to pounce again. Now! Apparently Naruto heard him, as a Raisin Shuriken screamed in from the 2 clones left up on the ridge, flew over their heads and annihilated part of the shrine wall nearest them. This revealed a corridor that would allow them to bypass the melee at the main doors. Here's the seal containing the body of Morio. It still seems to be closed, thank goodness. Cheyenne sighed in relief, and her arms man patted her back. We're almost done, my lady. Okay. Everyone, stand back. I am going to perform the shrine sealing ritual. Sakura frowned. Why? To seal Morio's body? Cheyenne replied uncertainly. Why bother? He's sealed away all right. My understanding is that this version of the ritual is permanent, and will prevent Morio from gaining his body back in any way. Well, if you say so. Sakura muttered to herself. As Cheyenne began, an enormous explosion sounded from outside and Naruto came flying in, hitting a pillar. That hurt. Take this, oh. His voice dropped in disappointment. Problem, Naruto? Sasuke asked idly. Stupid kill-stealing clones. Nah, I'm alright. Most of the stone golems are destroyed, and the rest are lacking most of their limbs. Good, came a voice. The team's head snapped around, Sakura's misty sheath beginning to swirl more violently as the boys built up their signature techniques. Oh, no need for that. Yomi advanced from one of the smaller holes blown into the shrine. Everything has worked out as I dash. He dove to one side as a wind Rasengan attempted to occupy his torso, then jumped straight into the barrier around Cheyenne's ceiling just before Sasuke managed to electrocute him. The voice of Morio continued as its host's body fell apart. The purpose of all this was to hijack the ritual. You see, the true purpose of the shrine sealing ritual is both to unlock my true body, and to merge the participants, who cannot leave the shrine until this is complete. Which one comes out dominant is determined by the strength of their chakra, and that's exactly how I came about in the first place. Your dear mother made me what I am when she performed this ritual. Sakura cricked her neck. Yeah, I'm going to say right now, that's a lie. The last bit, anyway. If you'd been created in the shrine sealing ritual, you wouldn't have had a chance to do anything last time. Good point. Sasuke nodded. So this means? We wait for him to take corporeal form, then Cheyenne drops the barrier and we blow him to bits thoroughly enough that his chakra is the weaker one. Sasuke split off a shadow clone, who went to suggest something to Naruto. The blonde nodded enthusiastically and made a horde of shadow clones of his own, before sending them all rushing off outside. The roof blew in as the two Sage Mode clones outside expended the last of their Sage Chakra by blasting the top off the shrine. Was that a good idea? Sakura asked, keeping one eye on Morio as he impatiently waited for the seal on his body to release. Sasuke spun the Raijin. Yes. It's set up. Alright then. Naruto will be able to explode bits off him with insert A rank technique dash. I resent that. Naruto called. I'm using Raisin Shuriken. Outside, massive gouts of wind-boosted flame began shooting skywards. S rank then, and I'll just see what happens if I ram a Yukai suppressor onto his face. She flicked through her set of tags. Ooh, I forgot about this. Gold Chakra Explosive Tag. Wait, what? Morio shouted, having overheard her. How is there someone with gold chakra here? I made sure the only one died. 2 points. Sakura gave a cocky grin. First, you missed the people with recessive bloodlines. Second, you just more or less admitted to me and to everyone else in the shrine that Cheyenne's mother had gold chakra like me. And since it's hereditary, like Cheyenne herself. Thunder rumbled outside as a huge storm developed. How do you know all this? This lore was forgotten. I have seen and understood all things. Sakura whispered to herself. The seal unlocked, and Morio shot into his body as fast as he could. The great dark mass of evil arose from the pit in which it had been contained, malevolence oozing from it. A quick poof of smoke, and Cheyenne was replaced by a Naruto clone. Go ahead, Sasuke! Sasuke raised the Raijin. Kirin! A great beast screamed, and lightning connected heaven and earth. Naruto was the first to look back at the glowing crater at the center of the shrine. Guys, did we get him? Morio howled, reforming rapidly, but sizzling where his dark form touched the semi-molten stone. Guess not. My turn! 50 shadow clones formed with a thought, and the screeches of many Raisin Shuriken filled the air. Oh, come on! He's still coming back? Naruto asked incredulously. Sasuke hit him with a 3-foot lightning bolt, and then I applied something that could give Millie a hard time. My turn now. Sakura lobbed a kunai into the, by now rather deep, crater. A flash came out, then a horrible scream. She turned to the others and looked smug. Yeah, Naruto muttered. You have the gold chakra to a level usable in jutsu and seals, go you. Sakura threw a V sign, then frowned. So it wasn't the tag I was picking up. Cheyenne, mind letting me have a look at that bell? Cheyenne shot a glance at the thrashing form of Morio, and walked over. Interesting. This seems to have some kind of switch function. Currently it's sealing away your gold chakra. But the bad thing about it is that it doesn't allow for a mixed state like mine, either you're pure blue or pure gold, though it does let you use the other type via the bell. Sakura straightened. Okay, I know how to do this. First, if you switched, you could destroy both Morio and yourself. Second, there's no need for it. Get over to Naruto and give him some of your chakra, via the bell, okay? Naruto, go into Sage mode and build a Raisin Shuriken with the contributed gold chakra. Gold and black in their pure forms tend to negate one another, and that'll make this Raisin Shuriken actually have some bite against him. Do that, and the merger effect will end with Cheyenne in charge. Naruto bashed his fists together, already in Sage mode. Right. Let's do this, Cheyenne. Can you control chakra that's not your own? Naruto grinned. Most of my combat style revolves around it, whether it's from a clone, nature or the... He tailed off. Never mind the last one. So here we go. Stay down as it forms. Morio finished regenerating yet again. Okay, that was extremely annoying. Where are my 4 ninja? They could be really useful at a time like this. Once more, the screech of a Raisin Shuriken approached. This again? It didn't work last TI-. Sakura had underestimated the effects. The gold chakra in the Raisin Shuriken reacted with the black chakra of Morio's form like explosives. When the 3 Konoha Nin picked themselves up again from the increasingly unrecognizable ruins of the shrine, they saw 2 things. Cheyenne, glowing a faint gold as she absorbed the power of Morio safely, and a hole so deep it looked like lava was coming out. Well, not much point trying to fulfill the plan. Shizuka muttered, staring at the volcano that had replaced the site of their benefactor's body. You think? Setsuna asked. Right, let's just go find some village that's willing to take us in. I hear Kiri still have shortage problems with skilled personnel. Or we could go join Oto. Given our extensive criminal records, Oto sounds better. Kakashi frowned. Run that by me again? Sasuke called down lightning? I call it the Kirin. The strength of the thunderstorm determines its strength, and it costs essentially no chakra. Definitely a good finishing move. I see. And it worked to at least temporarily damage Morio. Good to know. Now, what about that seal of yours? I decided it would be easier to just blow Morio up repeatedly so that Cheyenne could absorb his chakra. It's helped in one way. Her chakra reserves are now respectable enough that she could probably undo the bell seal in another couple of years, and from there it's not far to ascending. It is my judgment that her descent stems from Ainoism. Bringer of Dawn. Interesting. Well, I'll let the Hokage know what happened sometime this month. Naruto shook his head. You have no concept of the chain of command anymore, do you? Only where it pertains to my subordinates, which you 3 still are. He looked contrite for a moment. Just. Naruto. Trouble. Naruto looked up from where he was monitoring 1,000 or so clones trying to create a tornado. What is it, Sasuke? Sakura flickered into the area. Apparently Konoha had some trouble before we got back with ninja on flying machines. Well, they're on the way again, and a mission team Kurenai were on seems to be mixed up in it. Gotcha, kind of. What mission were they on? Escort. Some girl called Amaru showed up to help Tsunade heal everyone, and we offered her an escort back home. But there were complications. She was shadowed by Sky Ninja, and they destroyed her village while she was away. Naruto suddenly looked northeast, cutting Sakura's explanation off. Never mid, I think I know most of the rest. She was shunned growing up, she had a demonic beast inside her, and despair set it off. Sakura looked startled. Yes, that's what the report said they'd managed to infer. How? Millie's awake. Big blast of yokai from the northeast, and it's not one she's familiar with. Sasuke picked up on the terms. Yokai specifically? Yep. And she should recognize any yokai on the planet. But it's also got some of the properties of that black chakra Morio had. So that's how you were able to tell the rest? Yep again. Jinchuriki territory, alright. Sasuke, get us some height. I don't want to have to fight whatever's coming inside Konoha itself. Sasuke nodded, slashing at his thumb in a practice motion. Intel? I'll check with the old guy once we're airborne. Yukai? You're sure? Mandias closed his eyes and sniffed. Yes, there's something in the air. You say Millie doesn't recognize it? No, not at all. Which really worries me. Naruto adjusted his grip on the elderly sage slightly as the hawk banked. Yokai's fragments of the Ten-Tails, right? Could this just be a tiny little bit? Possibly. We never did work out what happened to the consciousness, though none of the 9 have anything that can be traced back to it. The Ten-Tails was pure malevolent evil, and we're lucky it moved slowly enough life could survive where it wasn't. Naruto shrugged. Couldn't it have just vanished? We could be that lucky, but I've learned not to bet on things like that. Especially around Millie. Fair point. Everyone was silent for the next few minutes as they headed towards the direction Naruto had pointed. One of the hawks broke the silence first. What is something that big doing in the sky? Sasuke glanced down. I don't quite see it yet. His Sharingan flashed on for a moment. Wait, there's a dot, but I can't get anything more from it. It is some kind of fortress or city. It is huge. More than that, Mandias said, suddenly tense. The area of Yukai ahead has greatly expanded. I think the flying object is being powered solely by whatever is giving it off. Millie snarled inside her host. Something about it not being an ethical power source, and an old enemy called Mr. W. Wow, she's really keyed up at the moment. Then the hawks broke formation, diving to the sides as a number of one-man flying machines bore in on them. Sasuke's eyes flicked on. That gear of theirs drains their chakra to run it. Neat. Sakura narrowed her eyes for a moment, flickered into empty air, and then replaced with one of the pilots. Naruto. Dismiss Mandias for a bit, I've got you a better ride. I like how you think, Sakura. Naruto replied, the fox sage vanishing from his lap as he got ready to switch with her. You want me to go ahead and summon you in? Yeah. Then a thought occurred to her. Just be careful how much you pump in, alright? Don't blow this up. Naruto winced. Good point. Okay, 2, 1, go. A horizontal comet flew straight into the forward superstructure of Anchor Vantion and exploded. Naruto tumbled from the wreckage, coughing. Damn it, still too much. He steadied himself, landed in a crouch, and bit his thumb. Summoning, transport. As his foxes, then his teammates, appeared in puffs of smoke, Naruto connected himself with the natural world and entered Sage mode. Summoning, again. Mandias shook his head. You and your silly comments. He closed his eyes and entered Sage mode himself. Yes, there's definitely something very powerful here. There's also. He paused. They're familiar. The boy with the half-dog bloodline, the boy with the hive and the Hyuga girl. Sakura blinked. You remember Hinata's family name but not the others? She's got a dojutsu, those are important. Mandias indicated one of the large buildings making up the flying fortress. In there, I think she's fighting someone. Hinata spun away from a shockwave of darkness, executing a nearly instantaneous Kaiten to deflect the attack, and body flickered behind Shino to attack. He created a shield out of shadow arms like the leech had, stopping her from targeting his tenketsu, and she danced back out of close range to refocus. Things weren't good. Kiba and Shino had been caught with a darkness wave earlier and were incapacitated. Puramaru was still recovering from having the beast forcibly ripped out of her, and her own Juken attacks were being easily blocked. Always blocked, though. Never dodged. Idea! She darted back in, chakra building in her hands, and a palm strike flashed out. As normal, he created the shadow arms of the leech and blocked her. So she took one of those arms, anchored herself to the floor, and used those points of contact to swing in a lion fist charge to about her maximum safe level. That sent Shino into the wall, and nearly herself as well. Only her quick reflexes allowed her to let go of the arm before it pulled her along with her enemy. Kiba coughed. Took you long enough. She looked at him blandly. My normal approach is useless here. Though his chakra is sufficiently out of control that I think sealing up his tenketsu might make him explode. Shino looked their opponent over, swaying slightly. How is it that he is able to react to your attacks? I think it's some kind of mental reading effect. When I was indecisive about my response a moment ago, he didn't guard anywhere until I made a decision, and then he was limited to the least dangerous choice. Amaru's voice came from the corner. The Zero Tails, it can do that, yes. It's like it has a mind that stretches out of its container, like there should be an intelligence big enough for it. Hinata and her team turned to her. I've had it happen a few times before. I can sometimes tell when people are unhappy, when they're upset. And only now do you know what was really going on, Hinata said, understanding. A roar made them look around. I will kill all of you for that, Shino bellowed, as he tore the wall apart with his shadow hands. Hinata simply smiled. 3, 2, 1. The roof came imploding inwards, with a shape of red and orange falling through it. Hey, bastard! Naruto arrived, claws first and 6 solid tails lashing. Let's fight. One of the great stone faces of Anchorvantion collapsed, Shino's flying form going straight through the cheeks. Naruto leapt after him, wincing as his second stage form shuddered a little with instability. Damn it, Millie, what's gotten into you? Don't, no. It's just making me angry, just like I was when Madara controlled me. Are you smashing up my mindscape? Maybib. Jump in the damn ocean. It's much harder to break, and don't take that as a challenge. That and it's the representation of the influences of my parents on you, both of whom are related to water. Naruto returned to the battle, and just barely stopped a sort of dark orb of the black chakra, held in his opponent's hand. Hey! Copyright issues. 3 of his tails pushed him up as he sprang backwards away from the deranged doctor. This is how you do it. Millie? You mean it? Time to blow something up without consequences? This once, yes. Naruto surrendered control to Millie, who took some of his offered chakra and mixed it with her own. You know, I'd never have the concentration to do this were it not for the way Ozzy tricked me. He didn't tell me how long it would take to learn how to blow things up with my mind. As she finished, the Bija ball formed in her mouth. Now, how do I fire it again? Ooh, shiny! With that, she lost concentration. Good thing the Bija ball was forgiving as attacks went. An enormous directed explosion of chakra shot out of her, slashed their mouth at Shino, who moved his shadow arms in the way but wasn't able quite to properly block it. Naruto reassumed control as he landed on all fours, and noticed a flicker of movement over in the scorched crater that looked like it went most of the way through what was left of Anchorvantion. Hinata blurred to a stop, a satisfied expression on her face. I thought so. The amount of chakra in the air was sufficient to overload his senses. With another little chakra flare, she vanished back to the room the rest were in just as Shino's system overloaded. Naruto watched as the Zero Tails burst out of his body. Ouch! Now that's why you need to watch out for how old you are when you put insanely potent chakra sources inside your body. For starters, if you're old enough to do it yourself, you are too old. The leech began to advance on Naruto, building up an unusually large amount of chakra by drawing from Anchorvantion instead of the other way around, but was interrupted by a blizzard of Chidori Senbon and a B-ranked water technique to the face. Naruto! Mandias called, running into the room on the heels of the 2 special jonin. I've worked out what it is. It's the 10 Tails brain. What? Naruto replied, keeping one eye on his tails as they fended off the leech's arms. You mean this is the thing's mind? No. Only its brain. A huge fragment of thinking chakra, with nothing to fill it, so it seeks out the emotions of others. I think it was transferring some of the old instincts of the 10 Tails to Millie, though luckily her own personality is stronger. Great. Naruto began to slide across the floor as the Zero Tails started to reel his transformed body towards it. Anything I can do about it? Oh, I see. There should be some kind of control mechanism somewhere on the fortress. Destroy it, and it'll be unable to maintain what sanity it has. With a quick bite, Naruto removed one of its chakra arms and spat it out. Disgusting. Why do you want to send it insane? Sasuke had already left to go find Hinata. Sakura shrugged. If it can't think, it can't plan properly? With that, she followed him. I have to admit, it's the best plan so far. Damn it, stop trying to remove those. Naruto briefly reabsorbed a tail to get the dozen or so hands clinging to it to let go, then remanifested it and bundled them up with it. I'd love to actually let loose on it, but like this my choices are basically physical combat or 100-foot crater, and it's moving too damn much to aim. At least Shino was kind of slow. He glanced over at his summons. And you're not helping. I shrugged. Big fights are cool. Nii looked across at her fellow summon for approval, and took some of the food he'd taken out of nowhere. Mandias looked disapprovingly at the bucket of popcorn. Be that as it may, Naruto, there is no need to worry. You're drawing on so much power compared to it. That the Zero Tails can't possibly do any permanent damage to you. That doesn't make it hurt less. Naruto's voice cut off in a yelp as one of his tail's gore pulled especially hard. I knew there was a downside to transforming like this. At least your skin hasn't exploded. That was a possibility for this few tails. Now you tell me. Abruptly, the Zero Tails' arms all went completely stiff, flinging Naruto towards a wall, which collapsed when he hit it, adding to the general rubble, and it screamed. Finally! Naruto said, shaking his head to clear it, then inhaled massively. I hope this works. His tails came up around his muzzle and he exhaled a great blast of chakra-laced wind. The 6 tails caught the stream of air and added rotation to it. Spiral Wind Cannon! The original attack that he'd learned off the Forbidden Scroll all those years ago hadn't been very clear on how it was to be executed, and every other time he'd tried it hadn't worked. The main problem was just that he couldn't work out how to add the rotation before it left his mouth without destroying said mouth, and afterwards it was usually too late. By the relatively low stability of the vortex that he produced now, actually it wouldn't have worked with fewer than 6 tails to get it rotating. But it was enough to tear a hole right through the body of the Zero Tails, and it began thrashing about wildly in what were clearly death throes. The entire structure shuddered as something important broke with a sizzle. Anchor Vantion began to list. Naruto raised what was technically a paw. Abandoned ship? Aye. The 3 foxes replied in unison, and vanished in puffs of smoke. The Jinchuriki loped for the side and leapt off. Well, they say cats land on their feet. That's true for foxes too, right? Wham! Ow! Naruto rolled upright, shook himself, and released Millie's chakra, with a wince at the feeling of his chakra pads contracting. He shrank back from the 15-foot or so fox form he'd been in to his normal human shape. Man, I didn't pay Jiraiya enough for the seals on these things. He grinned, checking that his clothes were all still there. Right, where are the others? This is all quite worrying. Mandias agreed, seated on his haunches. If the brain of the 10 tails survived separate to the other pieces, then it's possible, that the intelligence did so as well. Does that mean something bad for it now that we killed the leech? Naruto asked. To be honest, I have no idea. It might interfere with any plan to put the 10 tails back together again, or it might make it easier. We can't tell. Lonnie had looked unsettled for the last few minutes. Mandias, I have a problem. I think some of my records may be inaccurate. I was looking into them to see what we had on Madara. Sasuke's eyes narrowed for a moment at the name. Who was our first summoner? Mandias closed his eyes, casting back through his long memory. I think it was one Mari. The girl whose nickname was the Beast. Second? His voice was more confident now. Shuichi. Third, the old sage listed off the names one by one, Lonnie checking them off against her small archival scroll and looking increasingly worried. And 10th? Naruto here. And you're certain you didn't miss one? She pressed. I was here when the summon scroll was first made, and I have guided every one of the companions of the fox. I remember them all well. Right. She unrolled the big scroll. Because there are 11 spaces filled. How very strange. Mandias looked disturbed. I didn't know anything at all could interfere with the connection inherent in the scroll. Hold on a moment. He closed his eyes again and slipped into sage mode, running back through his memory like the pages of a book. The first to sign did so at the left end of the scroll. Nothing wrong with the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. She never could form the characters right. 7th, 8th, 9th. His eyes snapped open. It's Naruto's signature. That's the only one out of place. Madara's signature was in the 9th slot, and now it's in the 10th as well. But he only signed once. Someone has snuck their name onto the scroll, and it's Madara Uchiha, which is impossible, because if he's in the 9th slot, then he's dead. Sasuke blinked, shocked. Sakura frowned. Is it possible to fake a signature on the scroll? No. It has to be a name that's yours somehow. A birth name, a given name, a true name, but not a false name. Then, Sakura's mind flickered with concepts. Is it possible to change your name somehow? For the purposes of this? I mean, could someone change their name to Madara Uchiha, sign the scroll, or get their name on the scroll by that connection otherwise, and change it back? That's disturbingly possible. It would be incredibly hard to change any of the names in question, since they're fundamental parts of the person, But if our Uchiha massacring hypothetical villain did manage that, then they would be able to add themselves to the scroll like renewing a contract, reinforcing it. It wouldn't even need them to be in the same plane as the scroll. But who would do such a thing? And if this is the person we've all spent the last decade and a half calling Madara, then why pretend to be him? Sasuke slowly raised a hand. Just so I can be sure, this hypothetical villain did do all the things that I hated about who we thought was Madara, right? Yes. Then it appears that I still hate the same person, just under a different name. What's the fake name they're using? I think Itachi's letter to you, said Toby. Sakura turned chalk white. Kun numbers. Pardon? Sasuke asked. Sakura turned to him, and began counting. Hitobi, Futabi, Mibi, Yobi, Itsubi, Mubi, Nanabi. Everyone's minds raced ahead of her. Yabi, Kokanobi. Oh crap. Naruto breathed. Toby. There was silence for a minute. This explains much, Mandias said softly. Thoroughly shaken, the three swore among themselves to never mention that in the elemental countries, and returned to Konoha after deciding that if they ever met Toby on their missions they would just run. If he was Deidara's teammate as Itachi's letter had suggested, it wasn't exactly as if they'd want to stay near the duo even under normal circumstances. Hey guys. Sasuke and Naruto froze, before carefully retracting their knife-hand strike and sweep kick respectively. Sakura? It's time. One of the teams in the area had a Yamanaka, and they reported to Inoichi. The Three Tails has finished reforming. Well, here we are. Sakura glanced over at the scratch force. In addition to her own full team, Shizen, Tenten and Ino had been brought along for the sealing. Lee, Kiba and Shino completed the ranks. Unfortunately, Hinata and Niji had both been occupied elsewhere on clan business, and there hadn't been the time to make up their teams. Their mission was simple: seal the Three Tails in a storage scroll. Apparently Jiraiya had some kind of special seal design that could take 3 tails of power. Sakura had looked it over and pronounced it possible. The problem was watching out for anyone else in the area. That was what most of the ninja were along for. Shizen gestured to the 3 other sealers. Come on, we need to set up the search mode. The other 3 kunoichi moved to the corners of a square, and raised their arms with Shizen. On a signal they all cut their thumbs, activated their copies of the seal technique, and fed them chakra. The complex seal array instantly blossomed into the sky, thickening and solidifying so that when they cut the feeds it stayed there, before floating off to begin quartering the vast lake. Naruto watched it drift over the water. That's really impressive. That something like that could seal an active, uncontained tailed beast. I mean, most of the time they have to be fought to a standstill. Yeah, about that, Sakura said nervously. Naruto didn't even turn around. I have to fight it, don't I? Pretty much. Most of the power is in the containment array. There wasn't much left for the capture array. Just hit it until the barrier can solidify properly, then we'll get a fox to summon you out. His eyes closed, and he drew in nature's power. Okay. Ready now. And just in time, too. Sakura blinked. How can you tell? A-tailed beast. Any sensor worth their salt could sense that once they were within their range, and being connected to nature gives me a lot more than normal. Sakura cursed inventively. I can't believe I forgot that. Of all the times to have that Hyuga clan meeting, we could have sorted this out much more easily. Not every day that their clan head's second child heads off to a Chunin exam. Ah well, we're here now. Naruto formed a small squad of clones, and began spinning up a raisin shuriken. 3, 2, 1. He hurled it. Less than a second later, the 3 tails emerged with a roar from the water and got a raisin shuriken to the face. Sasuke? The Jinchuriki asked absently. Not much damage, that shell must be one of the toughest things in existence. Get some good storm clouds going and I'll be able to blast it when you want. Sounds good to me. Guys? 2 of you charge up and help boost Sasuke's fire, other 2 come with me. The 3 Sage Mode Naruto charged off in unison, all 3 of them working the seals for dryling Fang bullets. Shizen watched the explosions start. Wow. I never really grasped the kind of thing Team 7 deals with before. Kiba chuckled. What are we, chopped liver? Akamaru barked something. Kiba turned pale. What? No, you can't take a taste to check. He has a point. Shino stated in a monotone. Our last major mission involved a demonic entity on the same order as a tailed beast, although our utility was limited. Hey, yeah? That mission was confusing. Why? Tenten asked, unsealing the Guardian's sword and spinning it around her palm for a moment. Our enemy was called Shino. But are you not called Shino, my youthful Aburaim comrade? Lee asked, confused. Exactly my point. Ah, I see. Guys? Ino asked, looking up. Was there a massive thunderstorm here a minute ago? A 2-foot bolt of lightning hit the water and blew a crater in it. Then a pair of raisin shuriken hit the three tails in rapid succession. Naruto dispelled the last of his charging clones. Damn, not long left. Sakura. I've got 2 options here. What are they? She called back. Get eaten or go fuzzy. Sakura shook her head for a moment. Naruto considered being eaten a viable option. Second one. Okay, he dumped his sage chakra in a single massive pressure damage, then drew out 7 tails of chakra. That was the point his second stage actually started getting really big. The 3 tails sensed the presence of another like it, and obeyed the relatively primitive animal instincts it had reverted to on reincorporation. Rival. Fight. Kill. Everyone watched in awe as the 2 titans battled, Naruto's fox paws glowing with red-orange yukai as he applied the water-walking exercise on a grand scale. Does somebody have a can opener the size of the Hokage monument? A few people sighed with relief, not quite believing before that this really was Naruto in control. Yipe! Why do tailed beast things always go for the tails? A massive tidal wave splashed up from the impact as Naruto shook the 3 tails off. I suggest we run. Shino calmly stated. Okay, Yukimaru, you need to take those pills in order to increase your natural link to the 3 tails. Really? The boy asked. What for? So you can call it to the surface, of course. But it's right over there. He pointed, and the sound Nin followed his finger. The gigantic turtle appeared for a moment flying through the air in an eruption of water, before a huge lightning bolt shot down from the still-present clouds and slammed it back into the lake. Nurari gaped. How did we miss that? Who knows? Rinji muttered. I don't? Asked Gozu, sounding uncertain. Who cares how? Let's get over there! Guren shouted, and took off over the water with her team in pursuit. That's me out, Sasuke stated, gauging the disappearing clouds. That last one exhausted the storm cell, no more Kirin today. Sakura winced at the impact from the turtle hitting the fox in the chest with its tails. To be honest, I think Naruto might do better if we were standing a bit further off. Sai gave his normal creepy smile. Exposing people to the fear of inflicting collateral damage is a major problem among high-level ninja battles. I knew it, Sakura said, fight temporarily forgotten. I knew all of those bland sayings of yours were from a book. I was reading that one last night. Clearly you are not very far into Danzo's big book of ninja. That's in the first chapter. His smile changed slightly. Though I think the 3rd chapter is more appropriate here. There's a quote that says, if most of the force is on the sidelines, 9 times out of 10 the battle gets bigger. Attack. The team spun, seeing Guren's squad approaching. Oh look! Orochimaru's experiments. Sakura cracked her knuckles. Earth, fire, water, and 3 unknowns. One of them has a keki, Toru. Toru? 3 elements? Yes. The leader, the woman with the green coat. There's earth in there, but I can't quite tell the other 2 elements. Possibly it's like ice with earth added. You want to take her, or should I? You do it. The earth and water outweigh the wind. Her element is vulnerable to electricity, if it follows normal rules. Sai drew his sword in one hand and his brush in the other. Sakura. I will engage the one with the grenade launcher. Got it. I'll deal with the gas mask guy. A swirling mist of water built around her. Hey! Kiba shouted. What are you guys looking at? Sound ninja! Sakura called back, and advanced wrapped in thin streamers of high-speed water. Now she tells us. Kiba tossed his head. Come on, guys. Flawless crystal met chirping blade, and gave way to it. Guren scowled, discarding her lance. Damn you, what is that? It's called the lightning element. It is weak to wind, and strong against earth. Water enhances it. I didn't mean that. Oh, the sword. Not telling. Sasuke spun away from her next attack, a salvo of crystal shuriken, and flickered behind her. Crystal imprisonment wave. That Sasuke dissolved into nothing as the attack hit it. One-handed hand seals. I see. Electric aura armor, A curtain of electricity sprung up over the body of the original, who hadn't moved. Am I right in thinking that since electricity disrupts the structure of your element, then your indirect attack entrapment techniques don't work now? Buren frowned for a moment. God's crossings. A series of clear crystal obelisks erupted from the ground in a line marching towards Sasuke. When the final one was about to appear directly under him, he gave a little smirk. Nothing appeared. Thought not. Why didn't you even dodge? Don't underestimate me. Sharingan. Buren flipped through a series of hand seals again. Jade Crystal Wall 8th Formation. Lightning Element. Jade Crystal Prison. Lightning again. Buren almost snarled. Pulling up a massive amount of her remaining chakra, she slammed her hands on the ground. Jade Crystal Labyrinth. An enormous, gemstone-shaped prison formed around Sasuke, coming together from a number of flowers and seconds. Sasuke experimentally pushed the Raijin into the wall, and it sizzled but only broke up a small area. On removal, the area healed up again. Interesting. The large structure disperses the electricity. Buren's voice echoed through the maze. Give up. You can't keep up that lightning armor forever, and your Sharingan is no help here. There's too much to see, not too little. I'm not just my eyes. Sasuke's free hand began to chirp, and the Raijin's edge lengthened. An important principle is that you can't just maintain something with no cost. And I imagine that this enormous cage of yours takes up a lot of chakra to maintain, even without having to repair it. So, how much chakra do you have? Sasuke barraged the walls with Chidori Senban, then stabbed the enlarged Raijin into one of them. And in a labyrinth, the way out is just to keep your hand on one wall. Sakura frowned as she ran into a dense smoke screen. The fire user was clearly more skilled in indirect arts than most fire nature wielders. Seriously, how many ways did you need to set something on fire? But her water nature made her a hard opponent for any fire user, and true sight made a smoke screen worse than useless. She coughed. Well, if you remembered to cover your mouth, anyway. A quick improvised water technique and the soot left her lungs, and moving her water-soaked forehead protector band across her mouth dealt with any more on the way. Who are you? A voice ghosted out of the mist. Sakura ignored the direction it was coming from, closing instead on the real Kajairi. Nobody develops water techniques for that specific a situation. Smoke clones loomed out of the mist, and his voice continued. It does not matter. You cannot fight an enemy who is like smoke. The swirling aura of mist around Sakura abruptly sharpened, becoming thin razor blades that spun in an intricate pattern. Cutting water dance. Hey, you see, that doesn't work. The smoke clones just reform, and hang on, shouldn't the technique have ended by now? Air, binding smoke prison! Sakura blinked, shifting her other element from fire to wind. Dispersion of water. The watery streamer slowed, joined into a continuous bubble, then blasted outwards in all directions. Kajairi staggered back, startled, as it began to rain black water. That picked up all my smoke particles! I know. That's why I did it. Exploding flame shot. Kajairi rubbed his hands together for a moment, then produced a shower of fireballs and shot them at Sakura. Take this. No thank you. Analyzing the chakra release, Sakura determined what he was doing to create the fireballs like that. Neat. I have to say. Water rose up in front of her to block the fireballs. You've got a much more diverse selection of fire attacks than most people I run into. Here's one of mine. I thought you were a water type, he shouted. That and wind, how are you going to dash? Sakura blinked, and the water shield fell away. The next fire shot hit her and splashed off her, thanks to her fire aspect's fire resistance. Dance of the firestorm. Just like the water had earlier, the fire and wind wrapped around her body, screaming with speed and power. Then she vanished. Kajairi took a moment to work out where she'd flickered to, and that was too long. Her snap kick took him in the right kneecap, and the hungry flames took him. That was less than pleasant. She shuddered, switching back to water and washing off. Then she staggered. Wow, that took more out of me than I thought. Suppose it must have been overwhelming his chakra in the smoke. Dark smoke sphere. Sai batted away the grenade that was headed closest to him, and unfurled his scroll. I see you use smoke attacks. Is there a reason for that? Huh. Now, tell me about your mother. Sai put brush to scroll. I've been trying to work out how Naruto does his friendship attacks, but all the psychology books seem to go on about something that hardly seems related. Kiho shook his head in confusion. I don't know what you're trying to talk about. Clearly. Was that an insult? Yes. Sai continued painting. I don't have to take that from you. Smoke dragon. Smoking does not make you look cool, and I shudder to think where the dragon bit comes from. Sai flourished his scroll, producing an ink griffin from it, and nodded appreciatively as it swallowed the smoke dragon whole. My attacks are water-natured. Water makes it so that smoke is washed out of the air. Air. You are out of moves already? That is sad. Sai gestured forward. Get him. Wait, no. Please. You shot me with a grenade launcher. Sai shrugged. I have no sympathies. Tenten shook her head sadly. Bats? Really? You sure you want to do this? Rinji shrugged. My bats are useful. Oh, I'm sure they're a good utility power. It's just that they're regular bats, not even large. Really? Well, can't you hear something? Just on the edge of hearing, this ringing sound? Makes you feel woozy, makes you feel dash. Kiba and Akamaru kicked him in the head. Shut up. That sounds like a dog whistle going wrong. Tenten blinked then shrugged. Works for me. Shall I finish him off? Go ahead. She unfurled the scroll. Everything including the kitchen sink attack. A number of large appliances flew out of the scroll and pummeled Rinji, ending with a metal sink and pipes. Kiba frowned. Not that I'm complaining or anything, but why? Comedy value. I filled it last month when we had to demolish a house. I see you are a most supple and youthful opponent. Lee launched a series of kicks, and Nurari flowed out of the way of them effortlessly. Marvelous. I can see that this is a true test of my youthful skills. Do you always say that? But of course. Youthfulness must be proclaimed constantly. Lee finally managed to land a hit, though Nurari deformed with the blow to avoid being damaged, and found that his hands were covered with a strange, slimy substance. Ah, I see you discovered my slime suit. It will stop you from moving, resisting your attempts to move even as I rob them of their force. Nurari giggled. A light gleamed in Lee's eyes. A challenge. Sixth gate of joy. Wait, what? Morning peacock. Nurari discovered to his dismay that his slime suit was not in fact immune to evaporating. Goza slammed his fists together. Puny little Konoha ninja. I will break you. Ino glanced over at Shino. Is he on steroids or something? I do not know. Shino formed a hand seal, and a number of bugs swarmed out. Can you target him with a mind-body switch? It would be helpful. He'd need to be fairly still first. Dad taught me the faster version, but it still takes a second or so. Then I will hold him still, so you can do that. His bugs coalesced into a pair of clones. Iron Mountain leaning. Ino watched his attack. How does that even deserve a name? It's a tackle. Shino strained, trying to hold the larger ninja as his muscles swelled alarmingly. Now, please. Oh, sorry. Mind/body transfer. Goza struggled for another second or two, then stopped and grinned. Done! Very well. Shino released the possessed ninja. Please hold still. A few orange-red ants crawled out of his clothes. These are the single most venomous insects that do not naturally enhance their venom with chakra. I have enhanced them with chakra. They will sting the body of this ninja so that he will die, then you will leave his body. Got it. Ouch. Ow. Ow. Those things hurt. Usually that is the primary purpose of an insect sting in any case. The venom will take effect shortly, and your technique. Ino's body jerked back to life. In the intervening time, it had fallen over and begun floating in the lake. Damn, that was rough. Goza seized up and keeled over. Sasuke came to a blind wall. If I have this layout correct, this is going to be the center through here. Go away. Leave me alone, I'm tired. Buren mumbled, almost out of chakra. The Raijin carved through the wall. Surrender, and you'll get to live, though you're not going to be using any jutsu anytime soon. Why are you sparing me? Because you're the leader of this team, and you presumably know a lot about Orochimaru's plans. Sasuke swung his legendary sword, and Guren let out a short cry as it sliced off the two last fingers on each hand. That should stop you from performing any hand seals. He picked up the fingers, and sealed them into a spare scroll. If you cooperate, you may get them back. The crystal labyrinth dissolved. Sasuke looked over to the main fight. Naruto! How much more? Naruto had pulled out an additional tail at some point, and had the three tails in a choke hold. I think it's weakening. His eyes flickered up. But I broke the containment seal. Probably when I had to use a Bija ball against this guy. The turtle thrashed one final time and stopped moving. Shizen called to the sealing team and got them to rally to her. Quick! Before it recovers. Finally. Sakura sighed, leaning on Sasuke for support. The technique had taken hold, and the three tails was trapped inside the barrier. Naruto slumped down next to them. Tell me about it. I'm just about wiped out after that. Channeling that much chakra for that long burns. Everyone else isn't in much better shape either. Shizen said. Tenten and Kiba are in the best shape, then Sai, Shino and Ino, but everyone else has hardly any chakra left, and Lee's muscles are badly overstrained. Sasuke glanced at the hilt of his sword. Were it not for that, I'd have run out of chakra there. Still, we won, Naruto said. And that means dash. A flicker of motion slammed into his side and exploded. Sasuke's hand grabbed the Raijin so fast it looked like he'd flickered it into his hand. Akatsuki attack. A second explosive came in, and he sliced it in half before it detonated. Naruto. Shizen ran over to him. It didn't look good. The explosive had been a small one, but it had blown his arm off at the elbow, and he seemed to be going into shock. We've got to get out of here, Sakura said quietly. They're after the three tails, and we can't contest it. Not with only Sasuke still in fighting shape. I hate to do it, but you're right, Shizen said. That all this was worthless, though. It wasn't worthless. We stopped Orochimaru from getting it. True. Everyone. Retreat to the rally point. Toby waved at the retreating Konoha ninja. Goodbye. Come again soon. Toby, you really annoy me. Do I, senpai? Toby asked innocently. Is that a good thing? Shut up. Deidara took a scroll out of his jacket. Time to blow this barrier wide open, yeah. Ooh. Is that one of the big fireworks? Yes, Toby, it's a firework. I see. Sarutobi shook his head sadly. It's a pity that we couldn't deny Akatsuki the use of one of the bijou, but we have at least managed to obtain useful information on my former students' plans. Oh, how is Naruto? Still unconscious. Did someone get the number of the bijou that ran me over? Naruto muttered, as he came back to woozy awareness. Then he spotted his arm. Oh. Right. Better deal with that first, then. Closing his eyes, he concentrated hard. Slowly, with a few stops and starts, he shape-shifted his arm back to normal. That took a lot out of me. Shizen came in. Naruto, how did you do that? Regeneration. Now I'm starving. Regrowing an arm does that. And what the hell happened? Well, that sucks. Tell me about it. Sakura sighed. All that effort, and then Akatsuki come along and steal it. I suppose so. Though at least we got out of there before they managed to learn anything about us. Itachi coughed wetly, then looked at the blood-spattered hand he'd covered his mouth with. As expected. I will have to fight Sasuke within the month. I think I have the adaptation to my eyes chakra network completed. I hope it will affect the Amaterasu correctly. Kisame. Leave me, I have private matters to deal with. Kisame grinned. What, writing a letter to your girl again? Sure, Itachi, I'll let you have that privacy of yours. The shark man shifted his legendary sword on his shoulder. Don't know why you're so hung up about it. So what if you were a clan heir? That was 7 years ago. And it's not as if you enjoyed it anyway, least I think that's what you were trying to say with the whole murder thing. Or was it that they just didn't like the girl? He chuckled, then left the room they were staying in a small town on the border of fire country. Itachi said nothing more. He'd carefully crafted the image of some secret paramour, but he didn't think Kisame actually believed it. Brash or not, the man was an S-ranked missing nin. No, it just gave him the excuse he needed to look the other way whenever Itachi did his private matters. He silently gauged his chakra. Good. The disease has not affected that, at least. Sitting down at the ratty table provided, he began to write 2 letters. One, to his brother, detailing the battleground he had chosen, a fortress dating to before the founding, and how to disarm the multitude of traps leading into the Uchiha fortress. He left out 1 in every 10 of them, of course. No sense letting his brother grow complacent. The second was simply addressed to Bearer. You have received this letter because you are the one gauged by the crows to be the best hope for them to continue. The summons under the banner of the Yatagara are exacting, precise, and demand that the individual consider themselves as part of the collective. You will find them to be loyal, so long as you can meet their high standards. You will find them to be skilled, so long as you display skill in return. Continue their legacy. Itachi of the Uchiha clan. He carefully rolled up both letters into scrolls, then his hands flickered through the hand seals of summoning at the kind of speed that explained why he was, even now, dying of lung cancer and with his eyes barely able to see in black and white, still worthy of the name he'd been called in Konoha. Paragon. Not a prodigy of the ninja arts. Prodigies could be skilled in ninjutsu, or the subtle art of illusions, or in seals. There were even prodigies in specific fighting styles. No, Itachi had been seen as the next god of shinobi, a man to whom all the ninja arts came as naturally as breathing. More naturally, now. And, like the last, he despised the need for them. Such were the ironies of history. His palm hit the tabletop with no more force than was needed, and a trio of crows materialized. He handed the first letter to one. Go. It is the Hawk Summoner you are to seek. That one would not be stopped by Madara. With Itachi's illness advanced to this point, Madara knew that he would be contacting Sasuke for his last desire, a death by his brother's hands. And that would, as far as Madara was concerned, make Sasuke finally out in the open and manipulable. He put it out of his mind, and turned to the larger two. One of them bore a scroll in her claws, bearing the emblem of a three-footed crow. This was his summon contract. The other was older and only a little larger, but had taken Itachi the most chakra to summon. This was the crow's boss. Migoichi. Itachi inclined his head. The term was part name, part title. The leader of the crows was always Migoichi, and their previous name never referred to again. Itachi. Why? It is time. I will not last out the year. You must find another. Indeed. The younger crow looked out the window. Itachi raised his hand, and the Migoichi laid a wing on her back. No, Sayaka. She frowned, then nodded. I see. A messenger is one thing, but this another. One of the reasons Itachi prized his summons was their keen intellect. Like him, they rarely needed many words either to say or to hear. I will summon Sayaka and yourself as part of my murder in my next skirmish. Let Madara think I was ill and made a mistake. Hence the unusually high chakra cost. Yes. Seek out the summoner best for you. My preference would be Konoha, but I would not mind if you went elsewhere. The words did not need to be spoken. We will do as you request. Let the red bell toll once more. Once more, the Uchiha nodded. This time in memory of when it had tolled for him. Is he ready? Migoichi cocked his head. Close. The transplant is done. It will be 3 months before the eye has recharged. So be it then. With that, both crows dispelled themselves. Chapter 5. Sasuke unrolled the scroll and blinked. I see. What is it? Wordlessly, he passed it over to Naruto. Oh, I see. Well, we'll help you get there. I know you don't want us interfering in the fight itself, but you know we'd do it in a heartbeat if you did, right? Yes. And thanks. Sasuke closed his eyes for a moment, then stood up. I have some equipment to gather. Oh, what is it? I am an adult by the laws of the Uchiha clan, because I can perform fire ninjutsu, but I am not a ninja by their laws. This is my last chance, my only chance, to rectify that. Uchiha ninja, true ninja, bear the Sharingan. They are skilled in its use, in ninjutsu, genjutsu, taijutsu, and the common Uchiha tactic of knocking down the shuriken an opponent uses with their own. And you're all those things. Yes. Which is why I must prove it to another ninja of the clan, and be officially recognized. Naruto was silent for a moment. I think I know what you mean. It's important to do things properly. Then he clapped his hands together. Still, no time like the present to get started, is there? And we'll need to be ready as well, because Itachi has Kisame as a partner, and we'll need to keep him busy. Do you think he'd react well to a Windfire Rasengan? Or to a fire-boosted Raisin Shuriken? I neither know nor particularly care. Excuse me. Sasuke walked to the edge of the training ground and blurred into Shunshin. Naruto shrugged, and formed a clone that shot off to alert Sakura and Sai. Hopefully the albino ninja would be available, for air cover if nothing else. Okay. Sai, I think we're going to need you overhead, watching for Akatsuki members other than Itachi and Kisame. Sasuke, I've left 3 foxes in Konoha with orders to summon you back as soon as one of them disappears. Summon Aya to get back there, and take Itachi's body or at least the eyes. We can give him a decent and honorable burial if you get the body. I understand. Good, Sakura, we're likely going to end up fighting Kisame. Do you have any of those fancy seals that allows water breathing? No, Naruto, but I do have some of Tenten's oxygen pills. Just take one at the start of the fight. No need for a complicated solution. Fair enough. How do these work anyway? They're dehydrated air. Oh, okay. Sai leaned over to Sakura. I do not think that is possible. Is it? No. But they're really fairly complex and he operates on simple explanations. I see. An example of what is commonly known as lies to children. You explain in a way that the subject is able to understand. Anyway. Sasuke, where are we headed? The Uchiha built a number of hideouts around the countries during the Long War. This particular one is the 8th, built by Uchiha Madara to commemorate his becoming the leader of the clan, and now that I think about it, to commemorate his contract with the fox as well. The symbol is of 8 swirls surrounding the kanji of fox, though I imagine he was a little saddened he couldn't have made it the 9th hideout and matched it to his number on the contract. Regardless, it is in a strategic location in the forests of Fire Country. Sakura frowned for a moment. You presumably mean a strategic location in the absence of the forests. A trade route that was then rendered inaccessible by the forest creation? Possibly. It did begin as a fortress, and transitioned into a hideout. Maintaining them was for formality only, or so the clan as a whole thought. Right. Lead the way. Sasuke nodded, checked his equipment. In addition to the normal loadout and his Raijin, he also had an enlarged shuriken pouch and a number of storage scrolls, and leapt off into the distance. Danzo lifted up a sheet of paper, and looked at it more closely. Hijirin? Have you seen this? What is it? Uzumaki, Haruno and Sai are investigating rumors of Akatsuki activity in Fire Country. That's hardly unusual. Is Sasuke with them? That's just it. Danzo handed over a second scroll. He's applied for 3 days bereavement leave over the death of his brother, and another for convalescence. Sarutobi quickly worked it out, and sighed. Oh dear. Well, at least it's a matter outside our jurisdiction. Sai stooped out of the sky on one of his ink birds, sword drawn, and impacted hard on something in a small depression off to the side of the rest of the team's route of travel. That's going to be Kisame. See you, Sasuke! Naruto shouted, forming clones. Sasuke inclined his head slightly, and was gone within a second. A pair of great breakthroughs and a fireball shot through the intervening trees towards Sai's targeted location as he ascended away on a bird, looking somewhat the worse for wear. Water just followed him, for a moment, until the attempt to turn Kisame from sushi into a more well-done fish dish arrived. Well, Sakura? Nope. He caught it in Samahata. The 2 special jonin jumped aside as a high-pressure, very thin stream of water cut down some nearby trees. I miss Sasuke already. And I keep telling you, I haven't worked out how to aspect lightning yet. It's not as easy as Sasuke makes it look with his broken sword. Can it repair? Naruto frowned, a clone disintegrating under water bullets. Sakura sent a wind blade scything into a ballistic shark made of water. Not the point, Naruto, focus! Can we evaporate off all his water? Sakura blinked, and looked at Kisame. Not with that kind of chakra supply. In fact, by the looks of it, he's about to fill the valley with water. Naruto blinked. Wait, what? This is a mile across. I know he did that big thing in Suna, but that was a narrow canyon. That was also a Jonin-level chakra supply. He's got an amount of chakra better measured in tails. Have I mentioned how much I hate chakra drainers who have the capacity to actually drain me before? The 2 of them jumped over a tidal wave as Kisame released about 1,000,000 tons of water. Sakura gave the depth an appraising glance. Damn. I can't summon. On this kind of terrain my otters would be torn to shreds by his sharks. Any thoughts? Naruto snapped his fingers, and his eyes turned yellow. Raisin shuriken? Unlikely to work, not with a sword that capable at absorbing chakra. Any chakra-laced wind would lose its cutting power, and he might even be able to force detonate it. Sakura then looked around. And why hasn't he killed us yet? Few clones. 2, 1, and he just pegged the last one. Take cover! A massive burst of water shot through the space they used to occupy. Run forward. Don't stop. Stop, left 3 paces, throw kunai at ceiling, dodge right, replace with block 20 meters further down the corridor. Sasuke's Sharingan shone in the darkness of the Uchiha hideout as he traversed the complex series of traps. Many of them were like tests themselves. One brought most of the roof down in a small section, so a new aspirant had to demonstrate use of the replacement with a conveniently pre-dropped block of stone. That or use some more esoteric technique. At least one, a deadfall trap, required the ability to predict over a second in advance in order to avoid being trapped in a dead end. The Uchiha had put a great deal of effort into these, in the absence of actual wars to fight in. And they had occasionally chuckled at the idea of a senju, which really meant, to their minds, someone without the Sharingan, trying to infiltrate the place, and failing horrendously. Sasuke privately thought they hadn't really thought through the implications of the Hiraishin, but that was neither here nor there. At length, though to an observer not in the time-distorting grip of the Sharingan, it would probably have been in a very short space of time given the circumstances, he emerged into the central chamber of the hideout, a large chamber, with a throne at one end, in which Itachi was sitting. "Brother," he said courteously. "Sasuke," Itachi replied. "How are you?" "Well, brother," he said, slightly uncomfortable. "I am glad." Both looked at each other for a moment, searing the image into their Sharingan. Both knew, whatever happened, it would be among their last chances to see the other. Then Itachi blinked slowly, and when he opened his eyes he was all business. "Is the applicant of true Uchiha blood, bearer of the Sharingan and child of the clan?" "I am," Sasuke answered, standing in for who would under ideal circumstances be his sponsor. "Has he been trained as a ninja, taken a life, been willing to bleed for his comrades?" "I have." "Have his eyes awoken in combat, improved in combat, grown to see the truth, the future and the workings of another's mind?" "They have." "Then let the applicant be tested, and if the testing be successful, let him take the title of ninja of the Uchiha clan." Itachi completed the formula, and stood. Sasuke was already alert. The tests were non-specific in written records, except that they tested every aspect of being a shinobi. But Kai! A layer of illusion shattered, revealing Itachi standing 10 feet to the right. A simple trick, barely even an illusion by the standards of the Sharingan, but fatally effective against most ninja nevertheless. Just as expected of his brother, Sasuke wove an illusion of his own, a subtle thing of electricity, and projected it out through a lightning samban. If it stuck, it would alter the relative speeds of nerve impulses in the body. He had used it once before, and the result had impressed him. It had not been immediately noticeable, but his opponent had missed a clearly reflexive move 20 seconds later with fatal results. Of course, it didn't work on Itachi, who spotted it with ease and broke it like glass. That wasn't the point. The point was to show imagination. That particular illusion had looked almost like a lightning ninjutsu, for that was what it halfway was, and that demonstrated for his assessor his ingenuity. The Sharingan illusion had been something else entirely, when he'd infiltrated the one Itachi had cast and made it appear as if he'd broken the illusion with a sealed dispel. It meant he could the illusion he'd piggybacked on shattered properly. Itachi applauded slowly. "Good work, brother. I almost missed that. I assume the intent was so you could build in a displacement of your own?" "Yes. 1 millimeter per second in a jump, and correct the trajectories of projectiles. Eventually I would be able to slip out of your line of sight entirely, and use a large jutsu. Useful, though since the Mangekyo is of a higher order than the normal Sharingan, it grants greater control over illusions cast with it. Observe. Tsukuyami." Sasuke looked away before the final word, but a shuriken went flying over his head with the speed of a striking snake and reflected Itachi's eyes, so they could make contact with his own. Everything became darkness. The realm of Tsukuyami. An example of the kind of powers a Mangekyo Sharingan has. "Sasuke, are you ready to fight an illusion of this magnitude? I do not know if Madara possesses something equivalent, but I would assume so given his ability to influence Bija." "He's not Madara," Sasuke interrupted, secure in the knowledge that Tsukuyami took place entirely inside his own mind and was unreachable to any other. "Madara died at some previous time. We checked Naruto's summon scroll. The last signature before his is a formerly binding fake of Madara's. We're as worried as you." Sasuke stretched his neck in the bonds as his brother reacted with shock. "In fact, while we're not sure, we think his name holds a clue. Toby." I am familiar with his alias, Itachi said and rubbed his eyes. What of it? Sakura worked it out. The conventional forms of the titles of the tailed beasts are Ichibi, Nibi, and so on. But there's more than one type of number, so if you use Kuin numerals, Tobi means 10 tails. And we fought the brain of the 10 tails a few weeks ago. It was the zero-tailed leech. You think the mind of the 10 tails survived? It's certainly possible, and Itachi sighed. It would explain his ultimate objective. All this time, I have wondered why he wanted to unite the beasts, since the 10 tails returning would essentially be the apocalypse. But if he is the mind in truth, then it makes sense. He held up a hand. I fully understand, you're not sure. But we have to work with this assumption, especially if Madara is dead. It's chilling. And I speak as someone who's sparred against the Jinchuriki who is holding back, in two-tailed mode. And been at the front lines of a duel between Jinchuriki and Bijou. Sasuke shrugged as well as he could. Though I have to admit, some of that unsettled feeling comes from how Naruto's going to be dead or nearly so if Tobi ever succeeds. And a bit of the rest comes from how he appears to have good odds of being the Messiah. Do we even have that concept? Itachi asked, curious. I recognize it, but I thought it was foreign. I think Nagi has some of the right properties. Sasuke mused. But anyway, it's Kuyumi. The ultimate illusion. Invades my mind. Got it covered. Lightning danced around his hand for a second, then the world shattered. A split second after Itachi had initiated the Tsukuyumi, both brothers collapsed spasming. Itachi stood first, but retched, giving Sasuke a chance to clamber unsteadily to his own feet. What on earth did you just do, Sasuke? He coughed out. I induced an epileptic fit in myself. Sasuke replied, blinking rapidly to try and recover. That, foolish brother, is probably the most idiotic thing you have ever done. Worked, didn't it? You were inside my brain, so when it went wrong it got you as well, risky, and foolhardy, and unaccountably effective. This is what happens when you live in an unsightly manner. No, if you live in an unsightly manner I arrest you. Sasuke fired back. Military police and all that. And your commander, Hatake, is still out on the streets? I don't equal his rank yet. Itachi inclined his head slightly, poise recovered, then threw a barrage of shuriken. Sasuke replied with his own. This was a set piece, and an Uchiha trick that was useful with surprising regularity. Especially when the teammates of the Uchiha could sneak around the side of the big flashy duel. Sasuke gave ground, half a dozen shuriken of his flying straight at Itachi instead of at the oncoming weapons, and Itachi had to cut off his own barrage to deal with them, which gave Sasuke a chance to throw another few along that path. Itachi forked his own attack sequence, and Sasuke copied him, and within a minute there were sparking shuriken collisions along the entire 30-meter stretch of room separating the two. Both finally ran out of shuriken, and Itachi bowed briefly to Sasuke. Effective trick. But what else would you have done? Chidori shuriken. I've got a few shuriken that I electroplated with chakra-reactive metal in reserve, and if I infused them as lightly as possible they may have passed unnoticed. They'd destroy many of your shuriken for a few of my own, granting me an edge in ammunition. A useful piece of equipment. Pass. The two brothers stared at one another for a few seconds more, then leapt. Fights between Sharingan wielders were strange things, affairs of probability rather than certainty. When the battle was one of illusion, the duelists could appear motionless and unable to perceive the world around them, almost as if not fighting at all however desperate their struggle. When the battle was an affair of ninjutsu, spectacular, hard to control, unstable moves that relied heavily on chakra control were mixed with absurdly simple little attacks that had been refined to the point they were performed with fewer seals than normal, denying the Sharingan the chance to copy. And when it was in the realm of taijutsu, or even more when it was a mixed battle, the real sparring took place a second or so in the future. Both combatants narrowing the field of possible next seconds of the battle to their best choice given their opponents. The battle may have appeared fairly ordinary for high-paced ninja combat to an observer, though there was an unnatural fluidity in the motions of the Uchiha, a sense of no energy wasted, no muscle overextended or underextended even at the phenomenal speeds of ninja battle. But if the observer had their own Sharingan, they would see a mental battle of wits to dwarf the actualized maneuvers. Sasuke's mind considered using a phoenix web with a quartet of wire-guided kunai, then saw Itachi's plans shifting to take that into account and use it against him, causing him to abandon doing that and switch to a lightning illusion to induce flash blindness. Itachi responded to that. Sasuke changed his plans again. The Sharingan saw around a second into the future, and slowed things down for its wielder by a factor of about 4. Coupling that with the incredibly fast reactions of a ninja, the result was that Sasuke and Itachi had iterated their attack sequences between 20 or 30 times by the time they were finally put into place. And this was occurring for every tiny moment in the battle. There was a good reason fights between Sharingan wielders were so rare, back when the clan was still in one piece. It tended to create one hell of a migraine once the battle was over. Itachi finally dissolved into crows when one of Sasuke's knife-hand blows hit home, and reappeared over by the throne. Impressive, but an Uchiha must be the fan to the flames. He must know fire. Both brothers inhaled, flipping through seals as they executed their favorite high-power fire techniques. They reached the tiger seal at the same time, and a grand fireball rammed into a fire dragon. Sasuke's choice of the more complex, harder-to-control move was deliberate. He'd got to know it well while trying to build a lightning version, which still frustratingly eluded him. The two attacks impacted with a great crash, instantly driving up the heat in the room substantially. Sasuke kept the body of the dragon going with more fire chakra, encouraging the dragon's jaws to expand and swallow the fireball Itachi had produced. Any moment now. The fire reached too close to Itachi for him to tolerate. Sasuke. This is what it is to master fire. Amaterasu. The black flames produced so much heat it was like stepping from a winter's night into hot springs. Sasuke felt sweat pop instantly, and it began burning away at his fire. But the heat level did not continue to increase like it would with ordinary flame. Sasuke dropped his fire dragon and held up his left arm, the palm of which began to glow a bright yellow. In the moment he had as his fire technique unraveled, he studied Amaterasu carefully. Interesting. It was extremely hot, but it only spread by direct contact, presumably for reasons of ease of use. If it were truly as hot as the sun's fire, the entire room would have been turning to vapor. No, it was doing something else, something entirely stranger. It was burning itself up, like some kind of snake eating its own tail. And it was also consuming what it was on. No, it was deeper still. It was somehow more real than normal fire. In short, it was on a slightly higher plane. Like the black chakra that fueled it. Like Sakura's golden dance of aspects, and the altered chakra states Naruto used. It was fire, as much as a concept as anything. Then the seal on his palm triggered, sucking the entire conflagration into it, and containing it successfully. Itachi watched impassively. A fire containment seal? Yes. I theorized that if Amaterasu was a more pure concept of fire, it would be affected by seals in a similar, or even greater way. That said, I have a use for this. Sasuke pointed his palm at the ceiling. Kai! Amaterasu raged again, and the roof exploded outwards. Log thrown accurately. Sakura blinked. That one had been a little strange even for Naruto. Tell me, do you think that you might perhaps be running out of ideas? What gave you the clue? He asked, as a ballistic shark flew at them. He lobbed a wind Rasengan at it, and what actually reached them was finely divided Piscine predator. An ink griffin leapt out of the sky in a cross between a pounce and a stoop, falling apart into nothing as Samahata intersected it. Sakura glanced around frantically, only to spot the enormous column of black fire. And that all the evaporation from Kisame's artificial lake was really getting a head start on the storm clouds Sasuke would need. Okay, have we tried me making 100 clones, jumping at him, replacing with boulders and then repeating that? Well, no. Go ahead. Lightning chirped around Sasuke's hand. I have always been more at home with the storm than the fire, brother. I am the Thunderhawk in the bingo books. Observe. This is what I use for your Amaterasu. The lightning danced up to the clouds. It is Kirin. As the blast hammered down, Sasuke drew the Raijin and charged. That wouldn't have finished him off. Not Itachi. Not his older brother. And indeed, when he could see through the dust it revealed Itachi in armor of materialized chakra, made in semblance of the storm god. Susanoo. Last of my 3 Mangekyo powers, and the most potent. Itachi was sweating now, with the effort, and Susanoo had a damaged helmet. I must congratulate you. Without this absolute defense, I would be dead. Sasuke brought the Raijin in as he ran, and rammed it against the interposed Yada mirror. I am sorry, Sasuke, but the Yada is inviolate. It is the conceptual form of a mirror that reflects attacks with no loss. The electric blade sizzled on the surface of the mirror, then Sasuke spun it around to block as Itachi brought the Sakanagi into play. The sake forming one legend evaporated on the lightning of another, but neither made any headway. Their powers were evenly matched. There is no such thing as an absolute defense, brother, Sasuke said quietly. A wall crumbles. A shield rusts. And a concept can disappear. Still the child. Even now. But more importantly, a mirror reflects. But an object that is stronger than the mirror will break it, not bounce off. Sasuke jumped backwards and raised the Raijin for a moment. With a sound like all the cloth in the universe tearing at once, the entire storm cell discharged into it in a single strike. It hummed dangerously, growing hot, and expanded to far greater than normal size. The younger Uchiha gritted his teeth as sparks flew off it, struggling to maintain control. Then he swung it back almost to his neck, heedless of the danger, and swung a stupid, amateur, heroic blow. Enough power to blow a small village off the map hit the Yata mirror, rebounded, and met itself coming the other way. The explosion finished off the job the rest of the battle had done, leveling the Uchiha hideout. Itachi staggered forward through the rubble, coughing. Ahead of him was his brother, struggling to stand. When I was despairing, Sasuke, all those years after killing the clan, I thought of you. You, my little, baby, brilliant, strong brother. You were my light, Sasuke, never forget it. You are the new light of the Uchiha clan. Sasuke finally managed to stand, and faced his brother. I'm sorry it had to come to this. A tear went down Sasuke's face, but I do have to kill you. Planned on it, for years. Just make it quick. Sasuke's hand went out to his right, and sparked. The Raijin, attracted by the pulsed electric currents, flew into his hands. The blade was shattered, barely a stub. Sasuke turned it off, then carefully placed it over Itachi's heart. Itachi didn't try to stop him. I am glad, he struggled to say, that the Uchiha clan will not die with me. Sasuke turned the sword on again, then wept like he hadn't since he was 8. Like a broken-hearted child. Naruto threw a pair of raisin shuriken, one as a shadow for another, and quickly replenished his sage chakra. The moment the first hit Samahata, he detonated the second. Any luck? No, Sakura replied. That sword's too damn big, he hid in the blast shadow. A purely physical attack might do, but you need a non-chakra-fueled attack powerful enough to shatter steel by the looks of it. Yet another ink bird dissolved on the sword, then Sai landed next to them. We should retrieve Sasuke and go. Kisame will not be as good at telling when we have left for the next few minutes. Huh? Naruto asked. I saw that Sasuke's fight is over. And as for the other matter, I have been mixing in poisons with my ink. It took quite some time to determine one that would work on someone with the features and constitution of a shark, but eventually I managed. He will be paranoid that we will attack again until it wears off, which will be soon enough that I really think we should get going. Sakura shrugged. Fair enough. You go, we'll use the summon network. I shall. Sai tapped his bird, and it set off on a crown-hopping trip through the forest. Sasuke. He turned, tears streaking his cheeks and a whorled pattern in his eyes. Naruto? I'm sorry, Sasuke, but we have to get back to Konoha. The last Uchiha nodded heavily, and pulled out a fine silk sealing scroll. It was the work of a moment to place his brother inside, and then Naruto performed the seals to summon Kane. A second after the big fox appeared, he and all the Konoha ninja vanished back to their training ground. Kakashi placed his hand on Sasuke's shoulder, who started to flinch away but stilled the motion. Sensei, was this what it was like for you? The elder ninja shook his head, completely serious for once. No. Mine was different. I'd made a stupid mistake and Obito paid for it. I can't imagine how you must be feeling. It will pass. No, it won't. Ninja don't forget their sorrows. They just learn to live with them. The pain will never entirely go away, but time will dull the edge. After a moment, Sasuke stepped away again, face composed. I'd like to visit the Naka shrine. And then I think I might ask for Sakura's services. If I am to take Itachi's eyes, at least when he is cremated he can have mine. You want to do it now? Soon at any rate. Let him go to the fire as he was in life. Sasuke's voice caught slightly. And this will prevent anyone trying to make use of the body. I understand. After your Chunin exams, that has become a valid worry. It also brings up the specter of having to fight some Akatsuki members again. It's a pity we didn't destroy Sasori's body, since we didn't know where it was. Haiden and Kakuzu aren't coming back though. Sasuke stood before the tablet. Sharingan. As normal, it explained the powers of the eye, and hinted at the next. With an effort of will, he concentrated on the moment he had killed Itachi. His eyes twitched, and he memorized the movement even as the tablet unraveled a little more. Limited free. Oh, this is the bit about attaining the eternal. Not relevant. Here we go. He looked closer. There were 3 passages of dozens that could be read. The ultimate warrior is he of the name Tadakatsu, right-eyed, who emerges from 100 battlefields uninjured. Interesting. Let Masamune, the left-eyed dragon of lightning, wield his blades with 6 thoughts of one mind. Lightning? Amaterasu was fire. This could be very useful. Mitsunari strikes with the speed of his thought, with 2 eyes clear to see. That one was more cryptic than the other 2. Unless perhaps Uchiha's Sharingan enhanced the speeds of their minds, but not their bodies. If this turned out to increase the speed of his body by that same factor, he was going to win a lot of fights. Then he winced. As soon as he got used to having much less planning time for each movement, of course. Are you okay? Sakura asked, running a final pass of healing chakra over Sasuke's face. Yes. The pain has gone. Even the slight sting of my Mangekyo has faded, and it appears that transferring Itachi's eyes to my own has healed their damage. That's good to know. Sakura shuddered at the memory of Itachi's eyes. When their Sharingan had deactivated in death, they had been so clouded she hadn't been able to believe it. She remembered now what Sasuke had said. That's my brother. Nobody else could fight that well while hardly able to even see. Shaking it off, she helped him up. Are you going to return to the tablet to see what else it says? In a while. For now, I think I will simply meditate. Contemplate Itachi's life. She nodded wordlessly, and left the room, one of the downstairs rooms in Sasuke's house in the Uchiha district. And so, the third Hokage concluded, ended the life of Uchiha Itachi. A man who was reviled as a traitor for almost half his life, and among the most tragic and loyal shinobi I have ever had the privilege and pain of watching as he grew. And now, at a request from the last member of his clan, to which I have chosen to accede, he will be treated not as the missing ninja he counterfeited, but as the loyal shinobi he always was. The crowd were silent. Itachi's funeral was a public event, to get the message out about the true cause of the Uchiha massacre, and more importantly in a way, restrict Tobi's maneuvering room. If everyone knew he was a murderous, duplicitous individual, his ability to convince others would be limited. The life of a ninja is often filled with pain and loss. But it is a strong man indeed who can face that pain and still do good. The Hokage bowed his head for a moment, then looked back up again. That concludes what I have to say. Thank you all for listening. Naruto entered the training ground to see Sasuke with a kunai poised over his hand. Don't, Sasuke! You've got so much to look forward to. The Uchiha gave Naruto a deadpan look, one of his eyes lit. I'm not about to commit suicide, Niwit. I'm testing one of my Mangekyo powers. Watch. He brought the kunai down with a whipcord motion, and it bounced off his hand. That's actually kind of cool, Naruto said, looking closely at the skin. It wasn't even marked. What power is that? Tadakatsu. I think it confers invulnerability. Cool. Can I try something? Sasuke watched apprehensively as Naruto spun up a Rasengan. Wait, what are you? Don't worry. Just push the tip of a thumb against it or something with the jutsu up. He complied. Applying gentle pressure caused the Rasengan to indent, then burst. Wow. That looks like the space-time of your body is displaced from the real world slightly. Did you feel anything? Yes. Same as with the kunai, ghost pain. Sasuke blinked, and when his eye opened again it was black. But that's a really chakra-intensive power. Same order as sustaining a Chidori while discharging it into something. I think I'll have to pulse it as a tax hit. Still a useful safety net. Yes. Then Sasuke looked at Naruto. Did you say something about space-time? Yeah, I've been studying up on it since I think it was how my dad was so fast. He accelerated his nervous system relative to the rest of his body. I want to know how he did things, even if I can't replicate them easily. Naruto snapped his fingers. What about the other 2? I've already tried Mitsunari. It's very strange, like I'm not using the Sharingan but everyone else is slowed down. The last one is Masamune. Sasuke drew the Raijin. I'll see what happens. I think I have enough chakra. He closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them. His left eye flashed with the combined pattern of his and Itachi's Mangekyo. And the Raijin lit, then its glow changed to a deep, azure blue. The eye widened. So that's how it works. What? The power, Masamune, it gives me a deeper understanding of lightning. That last word was more sung than spoken. It was unmistakably celestial. Sasuke took a coin from his pocket and flipped it into the air. As it came down, he willed the blue lightning to envelop it, and bang! A tree on the other side of the training ground fell over. The Uchiha developed a grin. Oh yes. This I very much like. Naruto looked back and forth between sword and tree. What was that? Railgun Jutsu. It uses electric current and magnetism to create movement. Ah, Naruto. I have a mission for you. Sarutobi handed over a scroll. Capture of a missing nin? Neat. Akatsuki? No, he's not to our knowledge a minor Akatsuki member. Okay. Then why us? Who asked for this? By way of understanding, the third pushed an opened letter across his desk. It was marked with the date, and do not open until. In the third's handwriting. Until now, I did not know the origin of this letter. I have created a duplicate of it along with a second letter. You are to give them both to the other person you meet on this mission. There is time and constancy involved. Time travel, future or, no, it must be looping around to our past if you want me to deliver a letter you've already received. Correct. Part of the letter mentions that a memory jutsu will be performed on those in the past, wiping their memories of the events so as to prevent the possibility of damage. Isn't that an information paradox? Sarutobi blinked. How do you know that term? Sakura rants about the Sharingan about once a month. And I've been reading up on time-space techniques since they seem to be what ninja like Dad and Toby use all the time. How prudent. But I digress. You must take your team and head to Rorin in the Land of Wind. Mukade plans on using it to travel to the past. Sarutobi sighed. He's going to succeed, of course, but try to make sure his success is as terminal to him as possible. Guys? This is getting strange. Sasuke looked over to Sakura. Elaborate. Whenever I switch my true sight on, I can see these vast glowing streams of chakra under the ground. They seem to meet somewhere pretty much where we're going. I think they're ley lines or something. Wouldn't surprise me. Naruto muttered. What, is this the crazy luck theory again? No. If there's a big city in the desert, either it's there for defensive purposes like Suna or it's there because something important is there. The others blinked. That actually makes sense. Of course, it could be that the important thing is a trade route or something. From how the place is a ruin, you'd think it was something that doesn't apply anymore. Yeah, it's kind of a recent ruin, isn't it? Less than 20 years ago. The team sped into the central structure, catching up with Mukade just as he reached his goal. Sasuke launched a brace of kunai, which the elderly ninja caught with chakra strings. You can't stop me. I will rule the world. He ducked as a railgun-launched coin nearly took his torso out, and unsealed half a dozen large puppets to run interference as he began working on the seal to the Dragon Lion's node under Rorin. Ooh, interesting. Naruto muttered, Wind Rasengan carving a puppet into an amusing shape. Looks like that's one of Dad's special kunai there. Oh, by the way, Sasuke, don't blast his head off until he succeeds with this bit. 3 more hypersonic coins blew craters around Mukade. I already knew that, Naruto. Before I shot the first one I checked. My Sharingan pretty much showed the world going nuts if I connected. Yeah, time's kind of mutable, but not that much. Oh, do you think it might be easier to use kunai or shuriken with that railgun thing? It's probably getting kind of expensive. The puppet Naruto had been working on finally exploded as a cache of explosive tags chain detonated. Damn. Now I have to start over. At last, Mukade said. Peacock Wisdom Queen. Peacock what? Naruto replied. As technique names go, that's kind of dash. There was a blast of broken time, and the team vanished. Sai blinked and looked down. Oh, that is a pity. It looks like I will not get to see what Danzo looked like when he was younger. Shrugging, he turned back to the crow who had been addressing him. You were saying? Mukade laughed in triumph. Finally! Now I will dash. 5 lines of plasma connected with him at once, and he exploded violently. Sasuke lowered a hand sheathed in crackling blue lightning, and blinked away his Mangekyo. Okay, we're in the past. Now what? Now, we've got to find Dad and his team, Naruto said, thinking. And I think there'll be young Kakashi on it, as well as a couple of older ninja. So, how do you plan on finding them? Sakura asked. I think we can just wait here, actually. I mean, there's no Hiraishin kunai in the source yet, so he has to have come in here to seal it. But if it was sealed in the future, but it's not sealed now, wait, where did the him in the future come from? If he jumped back into his old body, and Sasuke just blew it up. This whole time thing makes my head hurt. Minato Namikaze and his team stormed into the chamber under Rorin. Makaid! You will not, where is he? Minato stumbled over his planned speech as he met three unfamiliar figures, two of them looking familiar, in different ways. Ah, Minato. Naruto said casually, concentrating hard on keeping his expression steady. This is to go in the third Hokage's files, don't worry, it's from him. Time travel. And do you know any short-term memory aerosol techniques? Yes? Good. Naruto let his expression go. Hi, Dad. Just wow. Minato said finally. This is so strange to hear. I mean, to know that my son, will be, well, you're everything I could hope for. But at the same time I half want to change who I'm going out with since Kushina clearly left her mark on your genetics. Naruto laughed. Ah, don't worry. I think it's worked out fairly well. Oh, that reminds me. He grabbed a scroll and wrote on it quickly. Minato looked over. What are you doing? Well, I think it'd be a good idea to at least hint towards something. Basically, you need to find out how to break a contract connection by attacking the summoner. Okay. What will that do? Ultimately, probably save the world. But that's true of a lot of things. Naruto finished writing the cryptic note and handed it to his father. Then he looked behind him. Okay, Sakura wants to talk to you apparently. Thanks, Naruto, Sakura said happily. So how did you find out your true name? Minato blinked. You know about that? Sakura replied by holding up the Hiraishin kunai Naruto had given her months before. I deciphered the seals on this with my celestial heritage. It only works for those with a true name of erasure. The syllables hung in the air like music. But I think that if you found a number of people who each had part of that true name in their conceptual structure, they might be able to do it collaboratively. I hadn't thought of that, actually, Minato said. But it sounds like a good idea to look into. Why do you ask? I'm developing my soul aura, you see, and it's all in celestial. I'm wondering if you did it the same way. No, sorry. Minato shrugged. Just lots and lots of seal work, until I unraveled the nature of my own being and found the root seal of the entire meta-ray. For a moment, Sakura just gaped. That's the most incredibly hard thing I've ever heard of. Are you sure you don't speak celestial? Because it's starting to sound like it. Nope. Minato confirmed. I'm just that interested in sealing. You're telling me you achieved nirvana in your teenage years with a brush and paper? She shook her head. That's just astonishing. No wonder you're the fourth. I'm what? Oops, spoilers. Sakura muttered. Forget that bit. So you're an Uchiha? Kakashi asked neutrally. I am. Sasuke replied. And there's a special power the Sharingan has if you say the word Kamui. Try it. Kakashi did so, and promptly collapsed. Hey Sasuke, that was kind of cruel. Naruto said. It's the last time I'll ever get him with it. And he won't remember anyway. Minato stabbed one of his special kunai into the dragon line node. Right, I make it about 30 seconds before the time distortion fades. And I think space-time should more or less heal up around this now. I've set a timed seal on the dragon lines so they'll pull you back in time to attack the idiot at the appropriate time, and an illusion seal for the fake Mukade. The three future ninja nodded, then vanished. Minato promptly fired off a short-term amnesia jutsu. What happened to Mukade? Choza asked, frowning. I believe that the evidence suggests that our target attempted to utilize the dragon lines, and exploded. Shibi droned. Well, that was fun, Naruto commented. Nice to have a chat with Dad again. Sai flew down to meet them. I see you are back. I am glad to report that I now have a summoning contract, and as such am not the odd one out. Not for that reason anyway, Sakura muttered. Who do you have then? A large crow alighted next to him, and spun a small metal tube about 1 foot. The red bell has tolled. The Seika are ready. You're my brother's old summons, aren't you? Sasuke asked, recognizing them. That we are. They see themselves as one, individually and collectively, Sai mentioned. Since this is not out of accordance with my personal philosophy, the correlation is clear. Ah, good to see you're back, Sarutobi said. Anything break the timeline? Turns out that the Mukade that we were sent after was an illusion to give us a reason to go back in the first place. Apart from that, everything's more or less in one piece. Time travel is one of the mysteries of the universe, it seems. Though your father was certainly starting to unravel it. Naruto shrugged. It doesn't have to make sense, we're ninja. We walk on water because it's easier than learning to swim. Indeed, indeed. Well, it would seem nothing urgent presents itself for now. Danzo made a frantic gesture and tossed a report over to the Hokage. Behind him, a ninja left through the window. And it seems I was mistaken. There's a mission for you in Water Country, near the last sighting of the Six-Tails container. Try and check in on him if you have the chance. Got it. Worst evil plan ever, Naruto muttered. He did nearly manage to make an explosion the size of an entire village, Sakura pointed out. And a nature chakra converter is nothing to sneeze at. No, it's not that. He had to be at the center of the explosion to use the technique. I mean, what? It is a good thing that Utakata was there, Sai commented lightly. I cannot imagine things going so smoothly without his unique and highly useful bubble jutsu. Or the gigantic slug in his gut, Naruto muttered. Shape-shifting is cool and all, but a whole unique element? That'd be nice as well. Oh, quit bellyaching, Naruto, Sakura poked him. You've got about 8 times as much chakra on call as him. Fair point. Sasuke had been gradually frowning, staring into the distance. Sai, Naruto, Sakura. Who in Konoha has a summon of a gigantic bird with the Rinnegan? I don't know. Is the punchline Katsuyu? Sakura's head whipped across to look at Naruto. Pardon? Well, Tsunade is kind of big, in more than one way, big name, that sort of thing. And she's a Senju, which is part of the bloodline associated with the Rinnegan. So since Katsuyu can dash, an explosion reached their ears. Sasuke's hand sparked, and the Raijin appeared in it. Konoha is under attack. Yeah, that does make more sense. We shouldn't have spent that week on the way back practicing massive impact techniques, Naruto mused, hands making seals to summon Ikamaru. Hi. Mind taking a look around Konoha to get some intel? The silvery fox's form blurred for a moment. Done. Several attackers, one of them summoning all kinds of crazy monsters, they're trying to find out where you are. Sai smiled blandly. That is most impressive. You were not gone for nearly long enough to overhear conversations, so you must have inferred this all from the still images. Nah, I bounced around and picked up the outgoing wavefronts of a few conversations. Pretty easy trick. Yeah, for someone who sees the sound barrier as something to dodge on the way past it, Sakura muttered. Anything else? They've all got unusual hair. Well, Ikamaru shrugged, a strange thing to see on a quadruped. Unusual for humans. Several of them have orange. Pain, Naruto said, his eyes already slit yellow. He's after Millie. The team broke into a fast run, heading for Konoha. Plan? Sasuke asked. Naruto frowned. First thing is, I'll get some clones up and evacuate the village. Pain is high S rank, Kakashi and the Sannin are the only ones with the firepower to match him apart from us, and for us it's only because we've been preparing specifically for the Akatsuki for months. The old man's good enough, but he's not nearly tough enough. Evacuate the village for fighting room, then, Sai said lightly. I am less skilled than the rest of you. I will break off, launch harassment attacks, and contact Lord Danzo. I understand he has a most peculiar summon. Anything that might help. Naruto nodded. Sakura, see if you can work out how he's doing everything. Sasuke launched a shuriken railgun burst at a giant centipede that had reared too high, and as it dispersed, Naruto multiplied himself into thousands and sent them to evacuate Konoha. Sakura's eyes darted from place to place. There was something strange going on. She launched off a bolt of wind-boosted flame at a set of origami constructs as they approached, and frowned. Conan, right? Indeed. Strips of paper flew together to create the kunoichi's face. I am impressed. Not many would recognize my unique ninjutsu, which is a clone made of paper, transformed and cloned again. A swarm transformation? I didn't know those were possible for mortals, the sheer information overload. Sakura then grinned. Bet it helps your complexion, though. Though I see your skin is a bit papery. Enough, Conan said blandly. You are not our objective. Leave and survive. No chance, Sakura replied, creating a flame raisin gun. A storage scroll in paper flew at her, releasing a torrent of water. With a thought, she switched aspects and drew the water into a big ball water raisin gun, which obliterated much of Conan's nearby paper. Another face formed further away. How did you do that? Your element went from fire to water. That is not possible. I am the legacy of the gods. Insight is my way, and mystery is my path. I have seen and understood all things. Been both fire and water, leapt from earth to air, danced at. Sakura frowned, and her voice lost its strange quality as she switched out of celestial. Damn, nearly got it there. Anyway, Naruto is one of my friends, so you can just go and crumple. Conan began to speak again, but fire enveloped her proxy head and destroyed it. Sakura wrapped herself in a windfire shroud and began hunting for more of the S-class missing ninja's paper. Sasuke crashed into a building hard enough to go right through it. Yahiko's body turned away, and a shower of Chidori shuriken went right through him, puncturing holes and cutting through some of the bones. Sasuke climbed back out of the rubble, wincing as his Mangekyo shifted back to the regular Sharingan again. Pulsing Tadakatsu had kept him alive, but it had been pretty brutal on his chakra supply. A Naruto appeared next to him. Village inside the walls is clear. Boss is using the big fox summons to wear down Pain's ones. Understood, Sasuke replied, and dodged a fire technique from the Pain he had been facing. With a frown, he triggered his Mangekyo again. Amaterasu. The fire rolled off a short-range shield. Deva Path Pain flickered out of the way and launched a wide-area water technique, then vanished in another flicker. Damn. A screech filled the air, and one of the gigantic summons, a hippo, by the looks of it, went flying into the air, exploding and also on fire. Sasuke exchanged a glance with the Naruto. Raisin shuriken? Yeah, and some Chunin tossed in a fire technique as the attack hit. Nice one, whoever it was. Kiba hooped. Yes. I actually did something. Akamaru rolled his eyes and barked. Look, the boss is about to go sage again, so I'm about to disappear to let him hold a recharge. The clone said. Understood. Sasuke spun the Raijin, then made a decision and summoned Hayabusa. I'm going to do top cover with Sai. Both of them glanced up as the murder of crows overhead, occasionally mobbing and destroying paper clones. Naruto's clone nodded. If you get a railgun shot, just do it. No messing around with this guy. And keep track of everything, you're the best person for that. I don't want to be surprised if a third Akatsuki member is here. The clone finally vanished, and 2 seconds later a massive explosion sounded from near the center of Konoha. Sasuke winced. Ouch. Hopefully he won't have to pay the repair bills. Naruto pulsed a big ball raisin gun in one hand to tear the projectiles from the Azura Path apart, and 2 of his clones tossed in a raisin shuriken to try and kill the close assault specialist Path. Another jumped in the way and absorbed the attack, and then did the same to a pair of wind raisin gun. Damn, that's annoying. A chakra drainer with enough capacity to keep up with me. Why do I always run into them? He muttered, ducking below a credible dynamic entry from the human path. The air pulsed, and suddenly gravity multiplied 100-fold. No, Joe and Ha dispelled themselves before they were crushed, and Naruto himself collapsed to the floor, his sage mode saving him. A moment later, a boom echoed over the village and the gravity field ceased. Naruto sprang back upright and ran a check. His clones were all gone, smashed by the field. That did mean he was back at full sage, but it was also a bit of a problem if Pain could do that at will. A flaming ball of chakra 4 feet across destroyed one of the paths, and all the summons vanished. Thanks, Sakura. She didn't reply. Fair enough, she was probably under some serious illusions if the Rinnegan hadn't managed to spot her. Not for the first time, Naruto was grateful that his team regularly sparred against armies of his clones. The way these Pains were reacting was eerily similar to how his clones could share memories, and their familiarity with it gave him a little bit of an edge. A rhino appeared in front of him, and promptly exploded again as railgun shots rained down. Naruto blinked and summoned 50 clones. One of them headed off to find Sakura, and ask her what the hell was up with that. The remaining 49 and him began causing yet more devastation, using the theory that the paths had to be hiding somewhere. Resurrection? You're kidding. Sakura said, eyes moving fast as she picked apart a web of genjutsu. Sasuke could just ignore it, and Naruto was operating off sage chakra at the moment, but she could see what there was and what it had been built to cover. Speaking of, she threw 3 flash-tagged kunai into the air, and the path at the center of the triangle thus formed took a Kirin to the head. By the looks of it, that was the one throwing the gravity attacks. With his incapacitation, the illusion net stopped moving as dynamically as it had before, and Sai showed his appreciation with an ink dragon that censored the seals on some of Conan's paper. Sakura melted away again, pausing only to scan the area once more with true sight. Ah, that was it. Naruto's hands sprouted wind blades and a summon fell apart. His sage mode began to run out of time, and he mentally shrugged before pulling on 7 tails of chakra. Pain watched dispassionately as Naruto's chakra cloak formed. Foolish of you. Akatsuki is experienced in defeating Jinchuriki. With a grinding roar, tails burst from the ground and wrapped around the human path. Hefting him for a fraction of a second, they threw him high into the air. Naruto grinned behind the red-orange yukai. 7-tail clones were awesome. Huh! Sasuke said to himself, examining the flying path through his Sharingan. What trick does this one have? I do not believe it has one, Sai said placidly, flying alongside. This one was standing at the back of the line when the powers were handed out. Shall we kill it anyway? I wish to take the honor. Sai gestured, and a pair of crows flew to match trajectories with the path. A second later they dispersed, and the human path violently exploded. It would seem that the second rule of the crow summons is to make things blow up, Sai mused. Naruto's clones wove a web of tails around him, lashing into and blocking attacks. One of them was caught by the Naraka path and lost a tail before it got free, and Naruto checked his chakra levels again. He was burning through it fast. Railgun fire smashed the Naraka path for the 3rd time. At least that one was vulnerable to physical attacks. Then all the paths Naruto could see seized up and fell over. Hey Sasuke? Was that you? He shouted, still maintaining a chakra cloak. No. Sasuke called down. I think Sakura found something. Neat. That's the stupidest plan I've ever heard. And I'm on a team with Naruto, Sakura said flatly. It would bring an end to wars except the wars over the weapon itself, Nagato insisted from inside his sparking, dented control system. Sure, if everyone was perfectly rational. But if the weapon's use was too terrible to contemplate, then there'd be armies that attacked the bearer of the weapon because he'd never use it. And if he did, then that's another use of the weapon, Sakura snorted. Not to mention how you're all taking your orders from someone who is either undead or an eldritch abomination based off the mind of the 10-tailed beast. Nagato blinked. Pardon? Madara Uchiha died at the Valley of the End. We have his old summon contract to prove it, and somehow his name's both been removed via death and is still on it. We're still looking into that one. But anyway, you're essentially assuming that everyone else in Akatsuki is being perfectly tricked by you into doing what you want, except Toby, who doesn't have an agenda. Frankly, from his public persona, I'd willingly believe he wants to carve his face on the moon so he remembers what it looks like under the mask. But you've met his private self, and you know he's not as silly as that makes him seem. Naruto arrived through the wall. Ow. Sorry, I thought that was wood but it was paper. Okay, that's Nagato, right? He reminds me of someone, got it. Do you mean the younger image of Nagato we saw in Jiraiya's historical flashback illusion? Sakura asked skeptically. No, I mean both of them remind me of Uzumaki clan members. You know, like mom and stuff. Sakura looked over the incredibly emaciated ninja. I'm not seeing it. Name one other person with red hair. Gaara? She volunteered. Tricky, and a point well made. But I'm suspicious about him anyway. My point stands though, that's a different shade of red. Tayuya? The flute girl? I'm suspicious about her as well. Again though, shades of red. As entertaining as this is. Nagato wheezed. What's the point? Oh, to the best of my knowledge your attack didn't actually kill anyone, so I'm going for a redemption. I do it a lot. You know, since Tsunade Senju is part of our village we could probably heal that body trauma. I would never sink so low as to allow myself to associate with the Sannin who abandoned me. Well, apart from Orochimaru when he was part of Akatsuki, Sakura said casually. Nagato and Konan exchanged glances. Right, that's me out of excuses, Nagato said. Though I'm still not sure why they never checked on me. As far as Jiraiya was concerned, you'd probably died. I know it sounds cold-blooded, but remember that your enemy was Hanzo the Salamander, who was basically the most powerful ninja of the time. And by the time he got confirmation you were alive, it was because you turned your resistance movement into a terrorist organization aiming to kill his godson. When it's put like that, I have to admit it makes sense. Nagato said, "All right, I suppose it's time to meet Jiraiya and Tsunade again." "Well, Tsunade?" Sakura asked, watching the legendary medic scan Nagato. "The good news is, none of the damage is permanent. The bad news is, I'm going to have to make you take 3 months of bed rest and another 9 months of physiotherapy before you're allowed out of the hospital." Nagato winced. Conan raised a hand. "Would an origami exoskeleton allow him to move around for short periods of time?" "Possibly. I'll need to test it first." "Hey, Naruto! I need another expendable test dummy." "What again?" Naruto called back. "I thought you did all the experiments last week." "That was last week. There's a new one." "All right, hang on." Conan and Nagato both blinked. "Expendable test dummy?" "Naruto regenerates. He's grown back an arm before." "Oh. Okay." Nagato looked lost. "And I thought Akatsuki was a spectacular band of misfits." Sakura shrugged. "I'm kind of desensitized by now." Sai dropped something through the window. "It looks like a get well card." Conan picked it up and opened it slowly. "Sorry for the war, that was a big mistake. Hope you're able to ninja again soon. Danzo." Nagato took the card and put it on his bedside table. On seeing the confused looks of the others, he shrugged painfully. At least he had the courtesy to apologize. "And sorry this took so long." "Yes, Sai is the crow summoner. His attitude fits Sasuke's Mangekyo powers. Tadakatsu, named for Tadakatsu Honda, a samurai who was in over 100 battles in the Sengoku era and was never even wounded. His Sengoku Basara version is a Gundam, as wacky as that sounds, and has one normal eye and one cybernetic eye. The power shifts Sasuke slightly out of phase with the physical world. He can still interact with it, but his body is effectively invulnerable. The chakra cost is ludicrously high. Masamune, named for Masamune Date, the lord of the Date clan and another great samurai from the Sengoku era. He lost one eye as a child, and lived his whole life with just the other one. His Sengoku Basara version has electrokinesis. The power is essentially to lightning, what Amaterasu is to fire, a more pure version. Mitsunari, named for Mitsunari Ishida, yet another samurai from the Sengoku. His Sengoku Basara version is utterly obsessed with vengeance, and is a master of Iado, the art of striking and then sheathing the sword between strikes. This power accelerates Sasuke's personal time-space to the same degree the conventional Sharingan accelerates his mind, superseding that ability. The drawback of this is that, like most Uchiha, Sasuke has used the Sharingan in most high-level fights, leading to him being used to having lots of time to think about his actions compared to other ninja. Sasuke also has the 3 powers Itachi possessed, though his mastery of those is lesser since they are tailored to his brother rather than to him. Chapter 6. Troubling. Sarutobi muttered. "That makes 8. He passed the report to Danzo. "That is troubling. I wonder how they managed to defeat the 8 Tails container. In any case, one assumes that means we are next." Danzo raised an eyebrow. "In fact, by the dates on this report he was attacked at the same time as Konoha. We must assume that they will try again." Sarutobi tapped his chin. "Akatsuki is now down to 4 members? Kisame, Tobi, Deidara and Zetsu, yes." Danzo frowned. "I worry, however, that they will find a replacement for Itachi. Orochimaru need no longer fear Itachi's eye, for example." "True." The Hokage sighed heavily. "I wish Mitarashi was of a higher rank. She's edging into A, but nowhere near the point I could send her against her old mentor, even with the advantage her summons give her. It would seem our best bet, then, is the remarkable Team 7. Danzo looked sidelong at the crystal ball. "Shall we check on them again?" "Oh, why not?" Sarutobi swept the cloth cover off, and both elderly ninja began watching their favorite show, monitoring a valuable asset. "And finally, Test 32! Naruto shouted, holding a keening raisin shuriken in the palm of his hand. Sasuke looked from side to side. "Suddenly I feel a lot more apprehensive about this." "Oh, you'll be fine." Naruto ran forward, spun his arm around and released the sage-enhanced raisin shuriken. Sasuke disappeared inside a threshing wall of wind chakra. Well? Sakura asked. Sasuke shrugged. The clone hasn't dispelled yet. It would seem that Tadakatsu really does render even a shadow clone invulnerable. Convenient. Naruto landed next to them. I think that's it for today. Anything I forgot? Can't think of anything, Sakura said. Sasuke? Sasuke was staring fixedly into the distance. Guys, incoming. Sakura and Naruto looked. I can't see anything. Neither can I, Sakura said before frowning. Her hands wove a pair of seals, and the air rippled in front of her. There we go. Naruto looked over, interested. What's that? Wind technique? Yeah, it lenses light so I can see further. Sorry, I think it's beyond your control levels. Anyway, that's Deidara on a bird. Still a couple of miles out. Any sign of Tobi, Kisame, or Zetsu? No, but there wouldn't be. Hey, Sai? The ex-root Nin materialized next to Sakura. Mind checking with the people maintaining the barrier jutsu? Tell them to be especially alert. I understand. Sai shot off a crowback. Where was he? Sasuke asked, thrown. I didn't notice him. Naruto's familiar spirit thing Kyudajutsun. Kuda interrupted. Thanks. Anyway, that inspired him, and we've been developing things like living person storage seals and perceptual seals connected to the internal seal space. Basically, he can store himself in a seal array attached to a flat surface or something. Neat. Guys? Naruto asked. What's our engagement plan with Deidara? Sasuke drew the Raijin. Since I can shut down his attacks, second strike. Wait for him to attack, then capitalize on the moment of distraction. Naruto nodded, and multiplied himself to begin building a raisin shuriken. Sakura vanished in a swirl of water. After several seconds, her voice came out of thin air. We're in range by now, surely? He blew Naruto's arm off at half again that range last time. Sasuke confirmed. I don't know why he hasn't done anything yet. Clone going to blow us up? Naruto asked, holding his raisin shuriken at the pre-injection stage so they could still talk. Nope. The invisible Sakura checked. That's the real him, and he's not molding any chakra. Deidara began waving what looked like a handkerchief. Is that supposed to be a parley flag? Sasuke asked. Looks like. Naruto dismissed his raisin shuriken. Keep an eye on him, Sasuke, and be ready to blast him if you get a prediction that he's going to turn hostile. What are you doing, Naruto? Sakura asked. It's worked on other Akatsuki members before now. I'm going to talk to him. Hi. Naruto, right? The Kyubi Jinchuriki, yeah? Naruto nodded. And you must be Deidara. Hell yeah? No hard feelings, yeah? For blowing your arm off a month or two ago. Naruto showed his intact arms. No arm, no foul. Ouch, yeah? Deidara winced. Okay, look. We, Tobi and Kisame and me, yeah? We went and beat up the Eight-Tails Jinchuriki, practically leveled on Reikyo, which was fun, yeah? The S-Class missing Nin grinned with the memory. And at the end of it, we caught him and took him back to extract. And turned out, all there was a tentacle. Huh. Naruto said. Messing with transformation? Kind of neat. It was cool, yeah, but apparently it wasn't as much of a problem as it sounded. Deidara shrugged. I don't know how it works, I'm just in it for the explosions. Yeah? Naruto asked. Yeah. But anyway, then Orochimaru turns up, and it turns out what their whole plan is. The real one, yeah? They have an actual plan? The Jinchuriki said, surprised. I thought they'd come up with the whole plan while drunk. And I could have respected that, yeah. Deidara said passionately. But no, they came up with this ages ago. Whole long plan, right from when one of them tried to set the Kyubi on Konoha up to today. And you're not going to believe what their goal is. They actually told you? Hell yeah, yeah. They thought it'd make us go along with it. Seems like Kisame already knew, and Orochimaru liked the sound of it, yeah, but I want it out. Wait. Naruto frowned. There's two things here, and I don't want to forget either of them. First, if Orochimaru and Kisame were the ones being told, who was they? Tobi? Him and Zetsu. Deidara nodded gloomily. I don't know what's up with the guy. He seemed so fun and jokey when we were out on missions, yeah. Naruto shrugged. What about the second thing? What was the plan? Hypnotized everyone in the world using the moon so they all think they're having a perfect life. Deidara said deadpan. Naruto blinked. What? Yeah. Okay, that makes so little sense that I can't even see where they're coming from in the first place. It gets better, yeah? Deidara said. Apparently all they need now is a bit of the 9 tails. They don't need all the tailed beasts. Naruto raised his thumb to his mouth, then paused. Hey, Sasuke! You still watching this? Yes. Sasuke replied from the middle distance. Good. Hey, Deidara, please repeat this sentence. I am no longer affiliated with Akatsuki and want to stop them. I'm no longer part of Akatsuki, yeah? Deidara more or less repeated. And I'm completely behind stopping them. That do? Naruto completed the summoning. Ikemaru, go check on Sora. What's the verdict, Sasuke? Sasuke flickered beside Naruto. He was telling the truth. You know, that eye of yours is kind of handy, Naruto said. Did you ever notice that? All the time, Naruto. All the time. Though I could do without having every last moment of that conversation memorized forever. I hope I haven't copied his speech tic. I don't have a speech tic, yeah, Deidara said indignantly. Don't worry, Naruto said, patting him on the shoulder. The first step is admitting you have a problem. I used to end many of my sentences with the same thing as well, but I got therapy for it. Suddenly, Naruto was struck by something. Actually, that particular tic was genetic, though not from the same side as the hair. Otherwise I would have almost thought we were related. Hey, yeah? No, some clans from IWA do have relatives in Konoha, yeah? In my case, I think mine is a distant branch of the Yamanaka, yeah? Huh. Neat. Well, that's going to help. How? First stop is the TNI department. Naruto raised his hands placatingly. I know, but I think they'll bring the Yamanaka head back in to look you over since you're such an important guy, and you can ask about staying over there for a bit. You think they'll let me, yeah? Sakura appeared to condense out of the air. You're a former antagonist who had a talk with Naruto. That's a Form N21, Naruto did it again. She rubbed her chin as she fell into step. Thus far there's been, let's see, the Kyuubi herself, sort of. Gaara of the Sand and Shikaku. Itachi, Konan, Nagato Itachi? Deidara interrupted. When did that happen? And who's Nagato? He told us what he knew about Akatsuki's plans within 2 minutes of first seeing Naruto, Sakura said. Granted, he was infiltrating Akatsuki all along, but anyway, Nagato is the former leader of Akatsuki. The one with the 6 puppet bodies and piercings. That's really strange, yeah? Deidara looked sidelong at the other blonde. What is it with you, kid, yeah? Not like I know. Naruto shrugged. Seems to work, though. Ikemaru reappeared. He's fine, but the monastery has decided to ford up. Probably for the best if they do. So, the situation hasn't actually changed much, Sasuke said, as they waited for Inoichi to show up. It's just that we know now that Orochimaru is back, and Deidara is no longer part of the organization. Soon we could probably mange a quorum of members and take the name Akatsuki from them, Sakura joked. Could be fun, yeah? Deidara chuckled. Hey, that reminds me. What are you guys' opinions on explosions, yeah? Team 7 looked from one to another awkwardly. Naruto spoke first. When you actually ask like that, and we think about it, we cause an amazing number of them. Oh yeah? Basically, I'm a Jinchuriki who can do the Bijou Ball. Sakura has custom explosive tags and can do fire-wind combos all the time. Sasuke can shoot shurikens so fast they blow holes in rock, and Sai's summons specialize in explosives of one kind or another. Specialize? Sai answered. The crows have invented a way to make explosions happen inside a tube. This propels something forward very fast. They have also developed a thing called a firework. Sounds kind of cool, yeah? I'd like to see that, yeah? You probably would, wouldn't you? Sakura said lightly. Oh, looks like they're ready for us. Well? Sarutobi asked. He's telling the truth, and seems inclined to throw his lot in with us for now, Inoichi confirmed. Though there's one thing he missed, I'm not surprised. People remember more than they consciously notice. Orochimaru was performing the impure world resurrection as Deidara left. That can't be good. The third sighed. Well, we'll have to remain on medium alert. As of now, all ninja who are not attached to genin teams are on watch on/watch off. Genin teams are 3-shift. Understood, Inoichi said, nodding. I'll take Deidara to our spare apartment, and then head down to the sensory room to monitor the area. Thank you, Inoichi, Sarutobi said. I am grateful for your help. I will be in my office, ready for whatever I might need to do. Second in command is Tsunade, should the worst happen. Naruto rolled out of bed, up before the alarm. Hell, looks like last night's training didn't tire me out as much as normal. Kuda chuckled sleepily. Probably because you actually ran out of ideas. Yeah, but I've got more now. Right, let's see, 5 cups of ramen should do for breakfast. 2 minutes for the food, and I can spend that getting changed. I need to see if that demonic sage mode is a good idea. Don't forget you're on patrol duty after 10. Yeah, thanks. Naruto hummed. Making 500 clones to cover his patrol pattern would work, and all it would mean was that he couldn't practice sage mode while they were out. Okay, and then there's the other thing, the throwable non-sage raisin shuriken. Sounds like a full day. Yeah. I feel good about this one. Naruto grinned. He kind of did have an awesome life. For starters, explosions got evaluated as training achievements. Sasuke stepped out of the door, mind whirring with possible new ideas. Perhaps he could try summoning a thunder bird, and trying to merge his electrical element with that of the summon. Equations drifted in the back of his mind, more felt than consciously calculated. A proper use of the Raijin would allow for his mount to draw on the power, and himself as well, and if they fired out blasts of lightning with opposed polarity spaced apart, then they could potentially cause equalization at the target, and cause vast transient currents. For that matter, if he understood the latest book he'd read, and he did, then matter itself was thought to be made up largely of electrical charges. Playing around with them could prove to be very useful, and of course, dangerous. That was how things worked, though, in the ninja world. At least there were shadow clones to experiment with. Sakura wove a web of chakra into her hair, and smiled triumphantly when it took without a fuss. Finally. This was a neat little contingent water jutsu, designed to react only when there was a hostile ninja taking hold of her hair. It transferred the stored water into the ninja's hands, which ought to be messy, true, but also stopped them grabbing her hair. Now she could feel she had a real justification for her long hair. Jiraiya kept weaseling out of teaching her needle jizo, so this was an acceptable substitute. Hey, Sakura. She looked up. Looked like Sasuke was second to the training grounds today. Oh, what is it? Just. Sasuke looked embarrassed. If someone had told me I'd be saying this 3 years ago, I'd never have believed them. Want to go out tonight, Sakura? Sakura felt like she'd just been hit with a mild lightning technique. Sure. She rallied as fast as she could. Thanks, I mean, I'd love to. I just never asked because, well, I thought it'd be too much like I was before I became a ninja. I respect you enough as a ninja now, Sakura, Sasuke said. Just don't mention this to Ino, okay? I'd never use it to get a cheap shot on her, Sakura said firmly. I learned my lesson over that. Good. They stood awkwardly for another few seconds. So, Sakura said brightly, I just remembered what I was going to ask. When you use your Masamune power, you have a true understanding of lightning, right? Yeah. What's the celestial word for it? Hang on a second, and I'll see if I can remember it. Sasuke blinked, and when his eyes opened they were the red swirl of his eternal Mangekyo. Masamune is the left-eyed dragon of lightning. Sakura heard the word, and felt it disassemble into its component concepts in her mind. Oh wow. That's what I was missing. I knew there were 2 polarities, and that there was a difference between one which is the presence of electrons and another that's the absence, but I didn't know the cores of atoms were also the absence type of electricity. Thanks, Sasuke, that's a great help. I'll see what I can do with it. No problem. Sasuke nodded, then walked over to a free space and began running through kata. Good, Naruto said to himself. I'm first. Taking a deep breath, he sat down and formed a shadow clone. The clone began to gather sage energy, reaching out to the natural world. Huh? The clone said after a second, before Naruto could really start drawing on Millie. This feels kind of strange. Weaker than normal. The natural energy? Naruto checked. Strange. It's still there? Yeah, I think I can get enough. Right, go for it. Let me know when you're ready. The clone went back to meditating, and Naruto reached within himself. Okay, Millie. He thought, casting it into his own mind in the way that the Kyuubi would hear. You're going to have to be calm for this one. What, really? Is it required, or just a strong suggestion? Required, I think. Naruto thought. If it turns out it is and I assume it's not, then we could be in real trouble. Yeah, I get it. Mean it. Oh well, I can do Zen. Naruto blinked. You can do Zen? Ozzy showed me how. I think he was impressed with how quickly I got it. Only took a decade. The Jinchuriki chuckled. That I can believe. Okay, we'll start with something fairly simple. He blinked, as his mindscape shook with a rumbling purring. Did you just fall asleep? Yep. Millie's head popped up just long enough to give that bright, clear answer, then went back on her paws and she went back to snoring. Naruto shrugged. I'll take it. Coming out of the meditative state, he slowly pulled on Millie's chakra to avoid disturbing her. After a minute or so, he judged he had about equal to his normal sage power levels in red chakra. The clone threw a thumbs up. Ready. Good. Dispel. The clone popped. Sasuke spun the Raijin. He could feel the sword's lightning dancing up and down the semi-real blade, and the presence of electrons. But he couldn't work out how to make the absence occur. Was it related to what he did in a Kirin? Then, he blasted lightning up into the sky to ionize a particular path. Ionization. That was it. Everything was normally a balance, and normal lightning element chakra was the addition of electrons. But there should be an absence as well. Focusing hard, he tried to pull the lightning chakra out of the Raijin faster than it could be generated. It made no difference to the charge levels. Then, he realized. The blade core was absent electrons. That was how it worked, so all he would need to do to make a weapon that made what it cut actually explode would be to change how it was set. Maybe make the electrons it generated from nature chakra flow into him, and use the balance to make the blade stronger. But then, he'd need to isolate it as well. This would be so much easier if he spent a moment to be sure he had the structure right. His left eye spun into the Mangekyo. Lightning! Sakura murmured. It answered quite a few questions. The lightning element was the most offensive of all the basic elements. Indeed, the only defensive use of the element she was familiar with offhand was the side effect of the Raijin. The sword that cut chakra, by repelling it from the blade itself, and also repelling from the blade corona whatever touched the blade, it forced the chakra it touched to become lightning and then tore it apart. And in a way, that was offensive itself. And now she knew why. Electromagnetism was one of the 4 fundamental forces of the universe itself. That there were 4 was simply obvious, and that, alone of the forces, electromagnetism was the only one with a directly associated chakra nature. The other 3 forces, which escaped her, but she knew they were there, were things which chakra either ignored or overrode. Electromagnetism was the one chakra embraced. The Arya came to her, once more, and this time she gave it voice. She felt very good about this time. I am the legacy of the gods. Insight is my way, and mystery is my path. I have seen and understood all things. Been both fire and water, leapt from earth to air, danced at the center of my faceted self. Every aspect I have worn woven from blue and gold. I am, and will always be, Sakura Dash. Naruto tumbled out of bed onto the floor. Ow, what the hell happened? Kuda didn't reply. Naruto looked down at his skin, and saw that the anime tattoo was still asleep. Hey, wake up! Nothing. Hey, Millie? What the hell's going on? Huh? Millie replied, sleepily. Did it work? Did what work? You were going to try merging my power with Sage Mode, weren't you? Naruto blinked. That wasn't a dream? Not that I noticed. Did we have the same dream? Don't know. Naruto looked out the window. Mind scrambling your chakra? I think there's something bad going on. Millie complied, and Kuda awoke with a gasp of surprise. What just happened? I don't know, but it can't be good. There's nobody patrolling the roofs, and you were in some kind of an illusion. Kuda hummed. Plan? Find the others, for starters. Naruto opened his window, set his security seals, and jumped out. Sasuke's eyes snapped open. That's the ceiling of my room. Why am I still in bed? Some kind of illusion. Most likely. How was I attacked? He flicked his eyes over to the window, and then the door. No sign of disturbance. Wide area then? How wide area? And powerful. It shut down my ability to move, and wove a completely believable world. It broke when I used my Mangekyo Sharingan. This suggested is a Mangekyo power. Probable caster is Akatsuki. Probable motive, unknown. Determined time since illusion initiation. If it was since yesterday, then it is likely to be their world capture illusion. All this ran through his mind in less than a second, as he began to get out of bed. By the time he was dressed, a plan had firmed up. Find the others, compare notes. Shared world or individual? When? Primary questions. If they have not broken it, use Mangekyo on them to break it myself. Sasuke shot out the door, fully ready for war. Sakura felt light. Like she didn't weigh anything. And the endless vista of possibility bloomed before her. There was the her that she had been, moments ago. But that her was wrapped up in a monumental genjutsu, one that looked like it could ensnare entire populations. One that had ensnared an entire population, she realized, looking around. Everywhere, there were slightly different versions of herself. Doing slightly different things. She could feel all of them, faintly, like echoes, or perhaps like glimpses of a book as one rifled through it. Many of them were bare shadows. Only going through the motions of a daily routine, in case the illusion for that particular ensnared person would require her to interact with it. For those in Konoha, it was a little more detailed. For those who knew her, a little more detailed still. And she knew how it was working. Every last detail of how it constructed a net of completely inescapable illusion around whomever the target of that illusory bubble happened to be. It reached deep down into their desires and beliefs and needs, and gave them whatever fitted with what they already knew, and where there was chance, picked the nicer outcomes. That meant that the real Sasuke hadn't asked her out, she realized, and her heart sank for a moment. The illusion had used that lure, and she had been tricked. Reeled in, not even suspecting the truth. But she was aware now. In fact, she knew her true name, so she was more self-aware than she had ever been before. Sakura. 3 syllables, but such a simple interpretation was like saying the dead demon-consuming seal was a circle and a squiggle, or the cursed seal of heaven some commas. There were melodic overtones and undertones and an entire symphony of sound, all packaged up in the higher harmonics of the musical word. The mighty tree with delicate petals. The new life that represents death. The eternal symbol of transience. The earthly tree which represents the clouds. Petals of pure color, where all the beauty is in the variations. Dichotomy in a name. And lightning had been helpful in understanding that, she knew. It was an element of dichotomy, in the most fundamental way. She reached out, and touched the her who was at the center of her own illusion. It fell away like gossamer. The others faded from her perception, and she was once more Sakura Haruno, but the memory of Sakura lingered, and she could still see without effort what had taken the conscious summoning of gold chakra before. A memory presented itself. Neither Naruto nor Sasuke's versions of her had been still present when she had become transcendent. They must have broken out themselves. She hurried downstairs, weaving a scrying jutsu out of thin air, and pinpointed them both. Each was headed for their normal training ground good. A petal-swirling body flicker sent her flashing across space to join them. Well, this is bad. Naruto summarized. You're telling me. Sakura muttered. At least it only took effect last night, so what Deidara told us is true. And since you, in particular, have not dropped back into it, it looks like it has only one chance. Most area mental invasion illusions are like that. Sasuke agreed. They can't keep firing to catch anyone in the area who the first one missed, because the very act of firing will disrupt the chakra maintaining the illusion. So, Naruto said, clapping his hands, our total force consists of us 3, Kuda, Millie, our summons, and possibly Gaara. Why Gaara? Sakura asked, before nodding. Oh, right, of course. Shikaka might have broken the illusion one way or another. Exactly. Now I think we basically need to go beat up Akatsuki. Any objections? None from me, Sasuke said. Anyone else we can bring as reinforcements, though? They have to be able to break the illusion from inside, Sakura said, eyes slightly unfocused. Nothing can really get through, no external chakra. Millie and Kuda are partially integrated into your chakra system, so that's what meant it broke for them too. How do you know? I just do, Sakura said, shrugging. Not sure why. But it makes sense somehow. She frowned. Actually, I could probably help people break it. But it still has to be a person with a technique that could break the illusion anyway, and someone who knows me reasonably well. Hinata? Naruto asked. Sakura shook her head. I don't think the Byakugan is enough to break this. If it was, at least one Hyuga would already have escaped it. They turn it on as part of their morning routine, some of them. Right. Sasuke frowned. Sharingan work, Mangekyo anyway, and I don't think there is another kind anymore. Kakashi? On it. Sakura sat Saiza and began to breathe deeply and evenly. I think we'd better make a list while she's in there, Naruto said. Kakashi passed the bits of blade to his student. You're sure you can fix it? Not sure, no. Sakura replied, unwrapping the cloth to look at the prized Hataki white light chakra saber. But I can give it a go. Thank you, Sakura, Kakashi said, sighing. I should have had it fixed years ago, but guilt over how I broke the blade was stopping me. Maybe I can let go of that guilt at the same time as the blade's wounds are healed away. Maybe. Sakura agreed, then twitched. Mind you, I don't hold out much hope. Pardon? Kakashi asked, sure he'd misheard. I said I don't hold out much hope that I'll be able to fix it. Look, the chakra network of the blade is actually cauterized. Kakashi raised his blindfold and activated his Sharingan. I don't see anything with my left eye. That's because there's nothing to see. Sakura smiled sadly. This is an illusion. Go Mangekyo with your left eye and that should break it completely. Sorry, sensei. Kakashi's eye twitched into the bladed petals and he snapped awake in the ready room. All around him, there were other ninja, Chunin and Jonin, slumped where they'd been when the illusion triggered. Izumo was sprawled across the entire floor, one hand stretched towards a smashed glass of something that had better not be alcohol. What just happened? He asked, slightly confused. Must have been one hell of an illusion to get all of us. Sakura. She'd been in the illusion with him, hadn't she? He'd better go find her. As he made for the door, stepping over Izumo, someone else stirred. So, that's how it is, Kurenai muttered. Ah well. Looks like it finally paid off. She turned from the table, on which rested 20 saman, none of them dug onto the table's surface, and all of them balanced perfectly on their points. She wasn't sure if other illusion specialists did it, but Kurenai had 2 tricks for detecting if she was in an illusion which she practiced twice a day. For those illusions which were imposed on others, she had a box in her apartment with a complex pattern inside it, which was only ever opened for her to check, and which displayed something subtly off if anyone else did. That had been fine. But for those illusions which infiltrated the mind, and had the mind itself make the illusion's details fill in gaps, she had this little senbon balancing trick. It was, essentially, impossible in the real world. But her deepest desire, one she had in fact made damn sure and certain was her deepest desire, and her deepest fear, too, was that this test be correct. So, it had shown her the correct answer. She was in an illusory world of someone else's creation. Right. Step 2. She scrambled her chakra. Nothing, as expected, something that could trap her without her even noticing would be more powerful than her relatively low chakra supply. An illusion this complex would take up mental power to maintain somehow. Either hers or that of some other entity. And fortunately, she had just the approach to take. What had originally made her wary was the news that her old teammates had been found, alive after so long, in a bunker in Oto territory. The strike team, Asuma's, in fact, had told her that they'd only just got there before some hulk of a ninja tried to kill them in a rage. So she marched straight out of the building, and up to Enka's room. Enka, it's been a while. You have no idea, Nai. Enka scratched the back of his neck. And look at you, a jonin, never thought you'd get so far. Do you have a team? Yes, I do. Kurenai nodded, playing along. 3 skilled young chunin. I sometimes feel like their mother as much as anything. She frowned. Actually, what was your mother's name? I never found out. I don't know. Enka said, suddenly looking troubled. What about your father? Chojuro. Enka answered promptly. Remember? He trained Hataki in swordsmanship. I do. Kurenai said. And what was your mother's speciality? I don't know. Strange. Kurenai tapped her chin. Perhaps there's some rational explanation. What was the team like that captured you? I don't know. What were you doing when you were captured? I don't know that either. Enka was starting to look panicked. Are you real? No. Enka answered, relieved that one had come up that he knew the answer to, then blinked, and his eyes widened. Wait, I didn't. If you're not real, then what should make me think the rest of this world is? A sudden stabbing pain, like a migraine, hit, her vision wavered and she was waking up in the ready room. "Kurenai?" Kakashi's voice asked. "Are you alright? You managed to escape the illusion?" "Yes." She got out, coming unsteadily to her feet. "I asked the illusion too many questions that nobody alive knows the answer to." "That worked?" "Only because I already knew that I was in an illusion. Had I not known, I am sure that my own mind would have invented plausible alternatives. There was nothing Deidara knew that was quite so awesome as sanctioned demolitions. Instead of trying to stop you, they basically gave you an area of influence and said, 'Go wild.' Konoha had already done that, and he was busily turning the Uchiha district into a series of gradually deepening and merging craters. "Hey, Deidara?" Deidara turned around, to see the pink-haired chick on an ink bird. "What is it, yeah?" "Just wondering, what's under that eye patch of yours? Is it a Sharingan?" "The former?" Missing Nin turned, shocked. "Sharingan, yeah?" "No, yeah. My eye is trained to see through Sharingan illusions, because they twist my art and diffuse it." "Yeah." "Oh, okay. Sorry." The pink-haired girl, Sakura, that was it, looked contrite. It sometimes seems like most people with eye patches have Sharingan under them." "I do know what you mean, yeah. Especially because Toby has Sharingan. One of the reasons I dislike him now, yeah? Well, it does let a Sharingan user see all the detail of an explosion in slow motion and—" Sakura tailed off. "Your eye can see through Sharingan illusions? How?" "I trained it with this, yeah." Deidara pointed to the eye patch. "See, it's a scope that lets me see long distances, yeah? But the whole shebang enhances my eye whenever I'm not using it. By now, I can make it see what's really there, yeah? Neat. Mind if I do a little test?" Sakura asked, making hand seals. "Go ahead, yeah?" Sakura vanished in a swirl of petals. Her voice came out of nowhere. "Invisibility. Can you spot me? I like a challenge, yeah." Deidara pulled his eyepiece off and fell out of bed. Naruto grabbed his arm to help him up. "Morning." Sorry, it was the only way Sakura could think of to break the illusion. "Huh, yeah?" Deidara looked around. "Let me guess, yeah? That moon eye illusion already went off?" "Yeah," Naruto said. "Right." Deidara cracked his knuckles, and his hands muttered protests. "Let's get to blowing Toby and the rest of those bastards off the face of the planet, yeah." "Hold on," Naruto cautioned. "We're going to make sure all of us who are going in are going together. That means we need to pick up Kakashi and Gaara." "Gaara?" Deidara asked, suddenly nervous. He has no hard feelings about my killing him, yeah?" "Probably not." Naruto shrugged. "Why is Deidara hiding behind you, Naruto?" Gaara asked. "No reason, yeah," Deidara said defiantly. "I just feel like it, yeah?" "Very well. What is our plan? I can show you where the main base is, yeah?" Deidara volunteered. "They moved out of Rain Country and there's this gigantic underground cavern, yeah? It's full of really stupid clones of the white half of Zetsu, yeah?" "Define really stupid," Sakura asked. "I mean, you know. Naruto bad, or worse. Naruto could beat them in shogi, yeah?" Deidara said promptly. "They're really stupid." "Yeah. Okay. Ideas?" Naruto asked. "Our main advantage is aerial," Sasuke said. "With both myself and Deidara, along with Gaara's personal sand flight technique, we can remain airborne and close in on wherever the Tentails itself is. And then blow it up, yeah?" Naruto and Deidara chorused. "Pretty much," Sakura volunteered. "Like all enormous chakra constructs, it's solid enough that it can take a lot of punishment, but healing away that punishment drains available chakra. I still don't know even if it's something that can be killed, much less how. But worse comes to worse, we can force it to break the illusion, and then Nagato can throw it back into the moon, or whatever." "Why didn't you wake him up, actually?" Kurenai asked. "I understand your method of breaking the illusion involves helping the subject break it themselves, but wouldn't the Rinnegan suffice?" "It might," Sakura said, nodding. "But the main problem is that he's very ill. It's too far for his paths to stay properly under control, and without Tsunade or Konan we can't move him safely." "I see." Kurenai nodded. "I wasn't aware of those details, thank you for elaborating." She then frowned. "Though considering the caliber of opposition we may be facing, I doubt I would be much help myself. Perhaps a compromise might be a good plan?" Break the illusion on him, and he and I shall keep Konoha safe. Good idea. Sakura nodded, then closed her eyes for a second. All right, that should do it. That was quick, Kakashi said. Well, it's hard to explain. Basically, I copied my full personality over into the fragment of myself that exists in his personal illusion world. It'll take a while for that Sakura to find him and get him to turn his Rinnegan on, but I've done what I need to. All right. The female Jonin nodded to herself. I'll go to his room, 203. Sakura supplied. 5th floor. Thank you. Anyway, I'll go there and fill him in as he awakens. You have our gratitude, Gaara said formally. Now, we should set off as soon as possible. Sasuke contemplated for a moment. Deidara, put a clone on a clay bird out in front. I'll fly above everyone else, and the rest of you keep in loose formation. Naruto, Sage Mode if you can. Will do. Sakura, keep an eye out for anything else thrown at us. I'm going to keep a Mangekyo up just in case they try restarting the illusion. I hope they don't. Sakura agreed. And yes, I'll see if I spot anything. Sensei, reserve. You're our most experienced. I understand, Sasuke. Kakashi said, all business. Gaara, how well can you summon sand outside of Suna? It takes a substantial amount of chakra, but I can create desert terrain on any given battlefield. The Kazekage said. Shikaku is willing to keep me charged as far as he is able, though of course his chakra levels are lower than those of the Kyuubi by a substantial amount. Good. As soon as a static battle starts to develop, lay it down. We're better served by terrain friendly to you than anything else. Understood. Sand flowed from nowhere, and Gaara began levitating on a cloud of sand. Very well. Let's go. Sasuke slammed his thumb to the ground, summoning a trio of hawks and a thunder bird, and Deidara launched his clay bird decoy before unsealing a dragon he'd made earlier. Nice. Naruto commented. You like it? Yeah, this dragon breathes explosives, yeah. So? Naruto said questioningly, banking his hawk closer to the great clay dragon. What did the illusion show you? What do you think? Deidara asked. Blowing things up, yeah. Should have expected that. Naruto laughed. Kakashi? I only got as far as asking Sakura to remake my father's weapon, the white light chakra saber. Kakashi said. Then Sakura helped me break out of the illusion. Neat. For me it was just another day's training, really. Or I didn't get far into it. Gaara? Mother, Gaara said simply. A spike of white light shot from the ground and disintegrated the clay clone ahead of them. Evasive! Kakashi shouted, and the hawks/dragons/cloud of sand split up on diverging vectors. Who was that? Naruto yelled, casting around with Sage Mode. I can't feel anything. Someone in bandages, Sakura said, frowning. I can barely see him. It's like he's made himself part of the world, and he's so far away. Lines of burning air shot down from well overhead, some of them intercepted by cones and cylinders of white light. I recognize that, Kakashi said before raising his voice. It's the second Kage of Earth. Orochimaru must have resurrected him. Techniques? He defines shapes and then disintegrates what's inside them. Naruto tracked the pattern of lights for a moment. Looks like Sasuke's winning to me. Why? Those shots of his are getting lower and lower. Boom! Deidara shouted, and the white light shapes stopped. Railgun blasts rained down for another second or so unopposed, then likewise stopped. Sakura glanced over at Deidara. Did you just blow the second Sachikage up? Yeah. Mini Dragon Missile C2, yeah. Sasuke's not going to be too happy with that, Naruto said before shrugging. We're ninja. I do sometimes forget. Well, they know we're here now. Kakashi pointed, as several shapes began to move near the cratered field that Sachikage had been in. Wow. Sakura lensed the air again, her hawk perceptibly moving to hover, and began scanning the ground. It's like a history book, loads of dead Kages, 4th Kaze, 3rd Rai, 2nd Mizu, and so many A to S rank ninja. Look, 5 of the 7 swordsmen. I would, but we're too high up, Naruto said. Oh, sorry. And wow. The Gold and Silver brothers, I think? I remember them, Millie said. They were tasty. But then they ate my stomach and that was all. I shall take on my father. Gaara droned, and began to drop out of formation. At around the same time, Sasuke stated his preference with a barrage of hypervelocity shuriken that ricocheted crazily from the third rakeage. The Thunderbirds stooped through their formation, giving a harsh cry. Sakura shrugged. The second Mizu was an illusionist, right? I'll take him on. I best handle the Gold and Silver brothers. Naruto said. Millie has prior experience with them. That and I think they can go up to 6 tails. Kakashi muttered. Right. Deidara, looks like you and I have to handle the swordsman. Works for me, yeah. Deidara said. Dibs on Shibuki, yeah? Alright. Kakashi allowed. Though the prospect is frightening. It'll keep you on your toes, yeah? Deidara's dragon reabsorbed much of its tail, and produced a half-dozen independent dragon missiles. Hold on, I've got to reload. Yeah. Father. Gaara said monotonously. Son. The fourth Kazekage replied. So, what actually happened to you? Gaara asked, curious. How was it that Orochimaru killed you? Letter opener. The fourth said, disgusted. So, how are you? Still going mad? Gaara blinked. I'm wearing the hat. The Kazekage hat. So? Have you seen what the fourth Mizukage did? You do have a point. Gaara admitted. But no, it turns out that Shikaku was under mind control. He's actually quite fun, if rowdy. I'm not sure how any of this is really possible. The elder said. But well, I am going to have to kill you now. Orders. Gold dust wave. Instant desert. Gaara replied. 2 colossal waves, one of sand and one of gold, slammed into each other like freight trains. Where do you even get all of the gold? Gaara asked. Not sure, actually. His father tailed off. It's kind of just there. I still do not understand why you did not use it to solve Suna's trade problems. I did. Then you did not get a good price. Shouldn't your sand have run out by now? Gaara shook his head. I have synchronized with my Bijou. It is easy so long as he is asleep. Interesting. Yes. Also, I have a summon contract now. It does tend to be useful to have one. More sand, normal and gold, crashed together in an unending susurrus of grains. I died once. Gaara volunteered. Chio brought me back. That old bat? Interesting. What was it like coming back to life? Not as impressive as you would imagine. It was a little like waking up. You know what that's like? Well, I woke up near a large, devastated area surrounded by much of the village, so it has similarities to when Shikaku possessed me. Huh. At that point, Totoro clubbed Gaara's father on the back of the head with a large plank. I suspect you were not really trying, Gaara muttered. Sand burial. I think I know why he wasn't trying. Shikaku volunteered. When they did the whole ceiling thing, your mother did love you. Sorry, I kind of forgot it was important before now. You are sure? I was there. In a kettle. Granted, I was monumentally pissed off, but I was there. She totally held you while the last of her life ebbed away. It was kind of heartwarming. Thank you for telling me. Finally. I was drunk and hypnotized. What more do you want? The enormous sand monster grumbled. Drunk? They filled the kettle with sake a few times to keep me quiet. Sasuke's Thunderbird swooped only low enough to let him off, then rose back into the air and began shaping lightning chakra, forming an enormous charge. In the absence of a thundercloud, that would work well for Kirin if he needed it. Sasuke's eyes tracked the third rakeage as he moved, evaluating his target. He already knew that the third was ridiculously fast, more durable than just about anyone else who had ever lived, and could fight a tailed beast, the 8 tails, in fact, to a draw. It had taken 10,000 enemy shinobi 3 days and nights to finally kill him. Which, actually, was a bit ridiculous. Maybe they were all genin. Oh, and he had the lightning armor as well. Sasuke could see roughly how it was done, but not exactly, and that it would neutralize just about any lightning technique he tried. A quick barrage of Chidori Senbon confirmed it, as the rakeage approached. They didn't even make it to his skin. Sasuke snapped the Raijin on and blocked a vicious knife hand strike, then dodged away from another with the benefit of his Sharingan. It wasn't enough though. Mitsunari. The world didn't slow anymore, but his own body sped up to match his eyes. It was like sparring with Naruto the times he didn't use his Sharingan, or, no, that wasn't right either, because he did have the forewarning his eyes gave. He had to react half on instinct and half with cold calculation, always interposing the blade between any strike he could not dodge and his body, not allowing himself to be contacted by any part of his brawler of an opponent. It was a losing battle, he knew. Even when alive, the third had such ludicrous stamina that even Naruto could not match it. He had only died when his chakra was utterly exhausted, by 3 days of constant battle. Mangekyo's eyes spun furiously, deciphering every nuance of the lightning armor. It infiltrated the nerves, and there was some dermal reinforcement, atomic bonds at will. All matter was made of emptiness and electricity. No wonder the rakige's skin was so strong. He could take that which made things strong and say to it, stronger. But there had to be a weakness. Nothing was a perfect trump card. A cry echoed from overhead. Sasuke disengaged with an instant flicker, and gasped for breath as lightning rained down from above. Then he saw something. The rakige had slowed when he was hit. Just for an instant, but yes. The lightning armor was powerful, durable, and precise. It was so well balanced that any further power input made things worse. And, more to the point, it was in exact phase with his nervous impulses. Sasuke flashed through the summoning seals again, and summoned Tobias and a Thunderbird chick. "What do you need?" Tobias asked, all business. "I need you to be ready to hit the old rakige over there, when I disrupt his lightning armor. And I need the chick to give me an electric aura armor jutsu. I'll be focusing all my attention on the Raijin." "You can do it?" Tobias asked the chick, who nodded. "Very well." The young sage spread his wings and red tail, and leapt. Sasuke could already see natural chakra gather along his wing feathers. Turning, he caught the chick in a very minor illusion. It didn't stop him from perceiving anything, in fact, just supplied extra information. Faster than talking. Obediently, the young Thunderbird pulsed alternating current at 50 cycles a second across his body. That would do for the initial clash. Sasuke switched focus to the Raijin, and altered its form. Rather than the expanded shape of the overedge, he compressed it. It was barely a tanto, and as he activated mass immune it shone with a brilliant blue. "Air," the chick said, sounding nervous. "Incoming?" Sasuke's head snapped up, and he barely blocked a knife-hand strike with the Raijin. Backpedaling with fluid grace in the grip of Mitsunari, he watched both the lightning armor and the third's movements intently, blocking every attempt at an attack less than a tenth of a second before it hit. So, that means he has a 40 times per second signal for his left first finger's second joint, and a 35 per second for his right second finger's third joint. Bit by bit, Sasuke matched fluctuations in the lightning armor to the associated muscle movements. It sped up nerve impulses, which meant it had to carry the signal. And he sent a complex signal pattern to the chick, flipped the Raijin to block and took a hand straight to the chest. The third blinked. "Tadakatsu," Sasuke informed him, then stabbed the sword of the Thunder God straight into the no longer moving right arm that had stopped abruptly at his skin. The pulsing signal in his electric aura armor had overridden the third's control of his arm, making it lock up. The Raijin overrode that, sending a sequence of commands which forced the right arm to stab straight at his own chest and pierce the heart. Sasuke vanished in a puff of smoke as the orbiting bird summoned him and the chick, just before Tobias hit the third's vulnerable form like a clawed meteorite. Sakura landed lightly. "Thanks. So, where's the second Mizukage?" "Hello, child," a voice said. "Any idea how Mist is doing these days?" "They're all right." She shrugged, noticing that the speaking voice was coming from an illusion. "The fourth was a bit of a nut job, but the fifth is much more stable. Made Terumii, a lava and boil user." "Ah, I see. Thank you. Now I have to ask. The pink hair?" "Natural." Sakura shrugged. "Aha!" She spun an illusion around herself, and vanished. "What?" The second frowned, then his eyes widened as a 50-foot otter materialized. "Hi, Daxter." Sakura's voice came from somewhere. "Hey, 10 feet to the left of that rock spire is an appropriately sized clam. Lunchtime." "Thanks." Daxter's voice boomed out, and he pounced. Sakura winced as she watched Daxter, getting the clam properly secure with 3 of his paws and breaking off the spire with the 4th. He started hammering away at it in the same way normally sized otters attacked normally sized clams. "That's got to hurt." "Ow. Ow. Ow. Ow." The Mizukage muttered, as the boss summon broke methodically through his defenses. As soon as the shell cracked, Sakura materialized and electrocuted him to prevent him shifting form. "And that's that," she said, satisfied. Wow, new record. That was a really bad matchup for you, sorry. I can see, the former Kage said, slightly dazed. Naruto went in hard, landing just behind a Sage Raisin Shuriken and forming clones straight away to make sure he had a clear sight radius. Wait, are those things the treasured tools? Kinkaku and Ginkaku nodded, in unison. Cool. Wait, I know how these work. If I say the word I say most in my life, something bad happens. Thanks again, Nii. Speech therapy might just save my life here. The brothers looked put out, and dropped 3 of the 5 tools. Kinkaku held the pot, and Ginkaku held the fan. And the pot, yeah, something about replying when someone calls your name? Right, not speaking anymore. Kinkaku looked at Ginkaku. Brother? Ginkaku didn't respond, looking pointedly at the pot. Oh, sorry. The gold brother dropped the pot, and the silver exhaled with relief. Anyway, should we blast him with the fan, or just go straight to Tailed State? Tails? Ginkaku said. Been a while. Both brothers concentrated, then practically exploded as each pulled on 6 tails of chakra. Millie? Naruto asked. It's yours. Nodding, Naruto pulled on 7 tails of chakra and felt himself transform. So, he said, once all 3 of the ninja had turned into giant foxes. Sumo, pancration, or boxing? Pardon? Kinkaku asked. I was asking what rules we were going to use. Anything is allowed in the ninja world, Ginkaku said. Rules are for the weak. Okay, Naruto said brightly. Demonic Sage Mode. A clone popped, and the reddish-orange fur that Naruto had sprouted became pure, vibrant orange. Is that legal? Kinkaku asked. Oh, wait. Me and my big mouth. Ginkaku lamented. Well, brother, let's make a good fight of it. You said it, brother. What followed, except for the larger numbers of tails and the scale, was a lot like kids fighting in the forest of confusion. Ah, Deidara muttered. You'd think 5A rank ninja would be more durable, yeah? Kakashi nodded absently, looking at the mess. Each of the twin blades of Kiba had a clay dragon on it, indicating that the ninja wielding them had stopped 2 of the incoming explosives, but the remaining 4 had still destroyed all 5 of the 7 swordsman members. So, where was that base? Over here, yeah? The entrance is about 100 meters down a tunnel here, yeah? Interesting, Kakashi observed. We're quite near the Canopy Bridge. Oh, yeah? My team blew it up in the war. The Konohanin clarified. It's when Obito died. Obito? Sounds like a fun guy. What was he like, yeah? Hang on. Kakashi concentrated, and threw some seals. Auditory illusion. Deidara watched Kakashi's memories of the Uchiha goofball. Seems like a fun guy, yeah? Then he heard something he recognized, during the play of the Canopy Bridge incident. Play that bit again, yeah? Kakashi complied. That can't be good, yeah? Deidara muttered. I recognize that voice, yeah? It's Toby's serious voice, yeah? Toby? Kakashi said, then frowned, a suspicion slowly creeping over him. But even if, no, that's not possible. Is it? He fought and nearly beat the 4th Hokage only 2 years after Canopy. Kakashi's mind raced. You said his right eye was the visible one? Yeah. And did you ever see him do anything unusual? It's Toby, yeah? Deidara pointed out, then thought. He has an intangibility technique, yeah. And a capture technique. Capture? He draws things into some kind of personal world, yeah? Then he brings them out again somewhere else. Pretends they were in his pockets, yeah, but I saw him once, yeah? Troubling, Kakashi admitted. My own eternal Mangekyo has the ability to banish things from reality. I don't know where they go. But if the shared concept of Obito's eyes were, hypothetically, the ability to connect to that world. Kakashi shook his head. I don't understand how he could possibly have become so twisted, though. Obito was a fun-loving child who treasured his comrades above all else. Toby, by contrast, used the newborn Naruto as a hostage. Genjutsu? Deidara suggested. They can really screw with someone, yeah? It's still hard to believe. Fair enough. Could be I was mistaken, yeah? Naruto bashed Kinkaku repeatedly against the ground, until he finally went limp. Exhaling, the transformed young man surveyed the area. 2 formerly 6-tailed undead ninja gradually reverting, check. Cratered field of rubble about a kilometer across, check. Gaara, Sakura and Sasuke arriving, check. Hi guys! he said, reverting slowly. These guys were a bit of a struggle. Hey, neat, the banana palm fan. Anyone else want it? The others shook their heads. Gaara solemnly pointed out that he was the one with the most chakra available by a factor of well over 100. Right, taking this. Sakura, you want to keep hold of the rest of them? Or shall I have Mandias keep them for now? That second option might be safer, Sakura said. I don't really have anywhere better to put things. Right. Summoning Mandias! Hey, got some legendary weapons for you, old guy. Mandias blinked. What happened here? 2 guys with 6 tails of Millie's chakra each. I basically grabbed them by the tails and used them as flails. Oh, and I got demonic sage mode working. The elderly sage shuddered. I dread to think. That explains the large number of craters in the shape of 6-tailed kitsune. Anyway, you mentioned legendary weapons? Yep. Naruto handed them over. 4 of the 5 treasured tools. Good thing you told me how they work. My pleasure. Gaara walked up to them again. This surprised the others, as they hadn't seen him leave. What were you doing? Destroying the brains. Standard zombie procedure. The Kazekage said calmly. Right. Here goes. Sakura muttered. Everyone on the lookout for traps. Or any of the remaining Akatsuki members. Wouldn't they have been caught in the genjutsu as well? You can never be sure. Besides, it doesn't work on non-living individuals. Did any Akatsuki member get killed without their body being destroyed? Don't think so. Itachi was cremated, I think. As they talked, they entered into a huge underground chamber full of thousands of quiescent clones. These look like the white half of Zetsu, yeah? Deidara said. Didn't know there were so many of them, yeah? There's Orochimaru. Sasuke pointed. Lying asleep over there. He must be in the illusion like everyone else. And there's Tobi. Kakashi started for the indicated ninja, then slowed, puzzled. That's a very old Uchiha Madara. What the? Intruders. Was that you? Naruto asked nervously. It didn't sound like anyone here. Sakura whimpered. That's a lot of chakra. The opposite wall of the chamber collapsed, and an enormous creature shouldered its way through, combined Sharingan Rinnegan rolling madly as it locked onto each of the assault team in turn. Sasuke snapped the Raijin on, as the Akatsuki members began to stir. Naruto, stall that thing. Everyone else, start clearing the rest of Akatsuki and these clones. Naruto leapt forward, transforming all the way in mid-leap as the Ten-Tails began a charge, and the 2 colossal creatures collided with an earth-shaking boom. Everyone back, or get a shield up if you have it. Sakura called, looking at the roof. This place is about to cave in. Rocks rained down, slowly and then much faster. Sasuke and Kakashi flickered out of the way, Deidara and Sakura slipped underground, and Gaara enveloped himself in sand. When the ground stopped collapsing several seconds later, what used to be a series of connected underground caverns was now a series of irregular sinkholes, with hundreds of surviving white Setsu and a number of S-class Nin emerging from the rubble. Naruto and the Ten-Tails had barely noticed the collapse, swapping between building-destroying physical attacks and chakra blasts that could level half of Konoha. While Naruto seemed to have less than half the available demonic chakra of the incarnate Ten-Tails, his fusing it with Sage Mode left the 2 of them on a very equal footing. To the rest of them, that meant periodic backblast from explosions washing over them. Sasuke clashed with Kisame, using the full mobility of the smaller Raijin to keep the enormous Samehada away from him. Why are you following this guy anyway? You mean Tobi? Or Madara? Kisame chuckled. Because of the promise of a world of truth. A world free from the deception of the world of ninja. I've been there, Sasuke said. And believe you me, it's not all it's cracked up to be. Mine was fine. Kisame shrugged. Samehada grumbled. Should your sword be doing that? I think it's annoyed it can't shave your sword's chakra. Kisame answered. That's the Raijin, isn't it? Yes. Sasuke reversed the blade for a moment to block a particularly nasty attack, then returned it to the normal grip. And I think you'd have done better in Konoha. Konoha is not immune from the corruption of the world of ninja. No, but it's not terrible, Sasuke said. I mean, Naruto lives there. Both of them glanced over at the battling titans. Anyway, the Uchiha continued. Who really is Tobi? There's nobody real by that name. He's really an Uchiha, but I don't know which one, Kisame said. He called himself Madara. But that was a lie, Sasuke pointed out. Great start to a world of truth. I'm in it for the sword fights anyway, Kisame said. Speaking of which, nice skills. Didn't expect someone from Konoha to be all that good. I trained with the objective of beating Itachi for years, then trained to beat whoever else killed the Uchiha clan after that, Sasuke replied. Oh, and? He brought his free hand around, sparkling with the Chidori spear. Kisame's eyes widened as he tried to cope with the sudden increase in the number of Sasuke's weapons. Despite the increase in difficulty, he still had time for conversation. Wait, Itachi wasn't the one who killed the Uchiha? No, it was mostly the Tobi person, Sasuke said. Why? Oh, just that you think you know a guy. Kisame tailed off, then spun Samehada in an improbable manner for anyone without water blade channeling and launched an attack combination. Deidara carpeted the rubble with explosives repeatedly. How many of these damn Zetsu are there? Sakura wove in and out of cover, zeroing in on Orochimaru. When she was about 50 feet away, he turned with the speed of a striking snake. Ah, the pink one. I didn't see you do much in the Chunin exams. Learned a little, bite, since then? Well, I did unravel your curse seal. Interesting properties it has. Using natural chakra to stabilize opening the gates? Is that what Yugo does? Orochimaru wondered. That explains why birds like landing on him. You didn't know? All this time, you didn't know why it did what it did. Sakura sighed. Not very good at science, are you? Silence! I am the ultimate intellect, the one who has unraveled the secrets of life and bridged the gap between earth and heaven. Orochimaru reached into his mouth and drew out the Kusanagi from his mindscape. I think I'll kill you now. Catch me if you can. Sakura vanished in a swirl of petals, and a marbled water Rasengan nearly took his head off from behind. I am the legacy of the gods. Where did you go? Orochimaru asked the air. Seeing something, he fired a drilling air bullet at it, and killed a hapless Zetsu clone. Insight is my way, and mystery is my path. You can't hide forever. The snake Sannin went flipping through the hand seals for a summon, and brought out a brood of venomous snakes. Find the pink-haired one and kill her. I have seen and understood all things. An eruption of power shot out from the battling Bijou, and would have bowled over any civilian. Orochimaru used the tree-walking technique to stay attached to the ground. Been both fire and water. A pair of otters moved like quicksilver through the rubble, launching javelins at any snake that showed itself. Leapt from earth to air. Snarling, Orochimaru fired off a swamp of the underworld. It didn't catch Sakura, and the otters blew him a raspberry before ducking under the surface of the mud to continue hunting down snakes. Danced at the center of my faceted self. How are you doing this? The snake Sannin snarled. I can't sense you anywhere. Every aspect I have worn woven from blue and gold. And what is that singing? I am, and will always be, Sakura. The world changed. Orochimaru found himself not in a rubble-strewn crater, but in a grove of sakura trees surrounded by a thick and forbiddingly dark forest. What? The snake Sannin was honestly stunned. What is this? This is my mind. He whirled to see a pink-haired girl with deep blue eyes, dangling her feet into a lazy stream. My mental state, actualized into the world. This time the speaker was another pink-haired girl, her eyes a light blue, standing at the top of one of the trees. My thoughts are real here. This girl had orange eyes and closed the door on a lantern as she spoke, having trimmed the wick. It's called a reality marble. The fourth speaker was standing atop a simple but solid bridge made of what Orochimaru recognized as quartzite, one of the hardest rocks, and a prime material for earth element users. Noticing that this one had brown eyes, a suspicion began to form. It's something that you can only do if you have your true name. This one was adjusting a lightning rod, which looked new, and had eyes of brilliant yellow. And there has to be something else special, as well. The speaker this time had eyes the shimmering green of medical chakra, and closed a book as she spoke. Divinity. The voice came from directly above. Orochimaru looked, but saw nothing. Each of the 6 girls closed their eyes for a moment, in unison, and equipment formed out of nothingness. Golden light condensing into weapons, 6 kunai, a kusarigama, a great axe, a pair of chakrams, 2 long spears, and a dozen saban. The one with the saban, the green-eyed one, smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. Get him, girls. Gaara's first action, before he let down his sand defense, was to summon a small raccoon. I require your assistance. The raccoon nodded, and clambered up his clothes to rest around his neck. Gaara exhaled, slowly, and released the sand shield. An extremely old ninja faced him. I see you wear the robes and hat of Suna boy. I do. Gaara nodded. It was simple fact. Who are you? Madara Uchiha. I have followed the path of the Uchiha clan back into history further than any other. His eyes blazed with the Mangekyo, and then contorted into the Rinnegan. And I will not tolerate my plans being interfered with now. Bansho Tennin. Gaara looked up, something warning him. He saw a colossal rock descending through the atmosphere. It looked like it was at least 100 meters across, and it was traveling so fast that simply compressing the air was heating it. The ground rumbled and cracked around him, boulders flew upwards, forming a shield, and the meteorite exploded off it without breaking through. Remarkable, Madara said, frowning. That is Shikaku's power, but there is something more. He seemed to consider. You are a sage. I am not, Gaara denied. I merely have the aid of one. The raccoon. I see. Madara's eyes switched to the Mangekyo again. Then he must be dismissed. A sand shield slammed into place around Gaara, and several dozen boulders tried to kill Madara. He repelled them impassively, still staring at the kage of sand's hiding place. A single gesture, and the shield of sand tore apart. Another, and Gaara was forced to flicker out of the way as a chip of rock accelerated to supersonic speed nearly took his head off. Foolish. The next attack Gaara met with his ultimately hard defense, the shield of Shikaku. The Tanuki statue resisted the first impact, but a second caused cracks and then it was engulfed in Amaterasu. You have the same eye powers as Itachi. He was the heir, Madara said impassively. Heir to my hatred, heir to my blood. Naruto found Itachi quite compassionate, Gaara said, drawing up silt and sand and pebbles and boulders into a multilayered defense. More heavy gravity blasts picked through them as fast as Gaara could re-establish the layers. Then he, too, was ultimately a fool. The origin of the powers of the Uchiha is truly darkness. We are not the heirs of the sage, but of the Jubi he broke and scattered. The might of the Uchiha is in embracing this evil. Gaara muttered something. I did not hear that. Sasuke's kind of not evil. I am not entirely sure how that happened. Nevertheless, the sword of Susanoo sliced through Gaara's defenses like they were paper. Gaara formed Shikaku's arms to try and distract Madara, hoping to re-establish his shield, and the elderly Uchiha touched them, and their chakra was drawn out, and they crumbled. That is surprisingly annoying, Gaara said, bringing up more earth and seerless techniques. The Mangekyo and the Rinnegan alone are bad enough, but together? Madara finally battered aside the last of Gaara's defenses, and fixed him with a glare. Tsukuyami dash. Dynamic entry. A ballistic Jinchuriki slammed into Madara's body, and sent it across the nearest crater and 15 feet into the rock wall. Gaara shook his head, trying to shake off the effects of a day of solid mental torture. That reminds me too much of before I met Naruto. He looked up, to see a ridiculously well-built man with a Kumo headband and wisps of demonic chakra around him. The man took a pose and started rapping. What you gonna do is what you wanna do. Just break the roof and you see the truth dash. Who on earth are you? I'm the bee, you know, and don't interrupt my flow. I'm number 8, I'm great, and I'm never late. I think that's the Hachibi Jinchuriki, Shikaku said incredulously. Excuse me, Gaara said, getting the attention of the rapping man once more. Are you the container of Gyuki? That's right. He's my bro, you know, we can't be beat because we are the elite. Ah, I see. A hypersonic rock from where Madara had gone was hastily blocked by the badly melted shield of Shikaku, which shattered. Gaara? Shikaku was suddenly excited. I can control the glass. Gaara nodded to his bijou, and started layering defenses again. I will handle defense. Distract him, and I may be able to destroy his animation seal. How? Apparently my bijou's powers include the control of glass as well as sand. If I can find the seal, I can destroy it. That's a neat power. Anything else you got, number 8, in the 11th hour? Gyuki's response went unheard by Gaara, but he strongly suspected it was profane. So, Kakashi said quietly. Who are you really? Tobi stared impassively back. That is something you do not need to concern yourself with. Kamui, Kakashi's eye sucked Tobi's mask into a wormhole, revealing the badly damaged face of Obito Uchiha. So Deidara was right. It's you. Obito said nothing. I have just one question. Kakashi continued. Why? The Uchiha blinked. Pardon? Why? Why, and how, did you go in less than 2 years from being a ridiculously optimistic newly promoted Chunin, to being a complete and total psychopath who was nearly able to outfight Minato Namikaze and was willing to murder a newborn child in cold blood? Kakashi rattled off. Oh, and why did you kill off the Uchiha clan? I'm not sure I understand the question. Pull the other one. I mean, you should already know the answer dash. Oh, and another one. When did you get the Mangekyo? When Rin died. No, that doesn't make sense. You had it before Rin died. Kakashi said. The only way you could avoid Sensei killing you in less than a second after you threatened his son is your phasing technique. Rin died about 6 months before that. Obito said, in the tones of someone explaining things to a child. No. Kakashi said, shaking his head. She didn't. The Kyuubi attack killed her. She was caught in a building collapse when one floor of the hospital gave way. That's a pathetic lie. Obito suddenly snarled. You killed her. You stabbed her through the heart with your Chidori. Why would I have? Kakashi asked. Seriously, why? I don't know. The same reason you abandoned me. But all ninja are monsters who kill people. It's why I want to end this world. Abandoned? Kakashi asked, perplexed. We didn't abandon you. You took what certainly looked like a fatal wound, then gave me your eye, and then you said something along the lines of go, save Rin. Which reminds me, how did you survive that? You had wounds Rin thought were fatal, and she was a medical nin good enough to do a field eye transplant. Only the strong survive in this twisted world of ninja. I was weak, yes, but it was by the help of Uchiha Madara, one of the strong, that I survived. About that. I still have questions as to how you're so powerful. It makes me suspicious. I don't know what you mean, Kakashi. I was on your team, Obito. Your chakra capacity was in the yellow. Now, I've worked with Guy. I know full well what intensive training can do, but if you did nothing but train for 2 solid years, you might possibly have the chakra capacity to manage to summon the Kyuubi, if she's a regular boss in scale. Guy always hated me. That's not true, or even relevant. Kakashi began to pace back and forth, still ranting. Oh, and that's yet another problem. How did you recover from the insanely nasty injuries? I was cared for by Madara Uchiha. He alone of this world of ninjas showed me compassion, because he had a plan to end all loss. You mean the illusion? Obito nodded. Then that's even more ridiculous. First off, Madara is a notorious traitor and filicide. Secondly, the Moon Eye plan makes no sense. It is a perfect world. It's a heaven-viewing illusion with a bit more subtlety, that's all it is. Let's say that it's a shared world. What happens if 2 people have the dream to be the best at something? And if it's all individual worlds, then it destroys all human interaction to replace it with copies that go through the motions of interacting, trapping a person inside their own head. Kakashi blinked. Actually, by now several thousand people have probably died, because they were somewhere that falling suddenly comatose would kill them. Like mid-jump. And if this persisted, everyone in the world would die in only a few days of dehydration. It was Obito's turn to frown. And one last question. You say the ninja world is full of nothing but hatred? That it's the worst place you could possibly be? It is. Obito insisted. Once my eyes were opened by Madara, I saw the truth. Obito, you were buried under half a ton of rocks. You might have brain damage. The only other people who knew the full plan were these sets of clones. Kakashi kicked absently at one which was trying to eat his shoe. And they're morons. But my point is, how do you know you're not in the reverse form of the Moon's Eye illusion? Obito opened his mouth, ready to hurl an angry retort, and stopped. I don't. I can't dash, finally. Either of them had spoken. In fact, whoever it was that had spoken, with a harsh voice, was behind Obito. The Uchiha turned, phasing his body to keep himself safe, and was nailed by a glare from a red-black pinwheel. The 10 tails shuddered, pausing suddenly and allowing Naruto to escape out from under a devastating blow. You have no idea how long it took me to get here! Kakashi glanced from the apparently unconscious Obito to the large, black crow hovering in front of him. Who are you? I am Shihide of the Crows. Itachi gave me the mission to bear Shursui's eye and use it on any Uchiha who was a threat to Konoha. The crow shook his head, still hovering. It took me hours to get here. That new summoner of ours only just summoned me before the illusion activated, and I had to fly here by wing. Shijihide then glared at Kakashi. And if I hear one joke about as the crow flies, what in the name of the Rakuto Sennin have I been doing? Obito muttered, coming to. The moon? Seriously? Kakashi looked at the crow. Either you broke him or you fixed him, I can't tell which. I'll take it. There was a hell of a lot of black chakra in there, just so you know. Shijihide informed Kakashi. Corruption, I think. It was overlaying his emotions, and his critical thinking skills probably took a bit of a hit too. That does make sense, Kakashi said. Sakura condensed herself out of the air. Wow, reality marbles take more out of you than you expect. Oh, hi, sensei. Orochimaru's dead. He is? Obito asked, from the floor. Oh, hi, Sakura said. Wow, lot of corruption residue on you. Hey, you're the guy who called himself Madara, right? How did you manage to copy the signature on the Fox Summon contract over? After Madara died, I saw myself as his successor, as him. Probably the insanity. That'd do it. Sakura nodded. Madara came to be synonymous with an Uchiha effectively possessed by the 10 tails. Sasuke landed next to them. I heard that. So, the one who killed my clan was possessed? Sakura nodded. Yep. Not in control of his own actions. Though I admit it didn't have to do much to make me want to kill certain complete jerks. Obito admitted. Wait a moment, Kakashi said, frowning. Weren't you fighting Kisame? I was. Sasuke nodded. But after he summoned a truly astonishing amount of water and I electrocuted him several times, he became a giant shark thing by fusing with his sword. And? Sakura pressed. And then a very large black man picked him up by the tail and used him to hit Uchiha Madara. Huh. Wonder who that is. Probably Killer Bee, Obito said, standing again. He is the Jinchuriki of the 8 tails. And if both I and Madara were possessed, then it should probably be noted that there is also a single Zetsu with a black half. This Zetsu is presumably also possessed. A particularly large explosion came from nearby, and Deidara shouted triumphantly. That's the special one. 20 extra points, yeah. Sorry. Was. Sakura frowned. So, what happens when all the people who were possessed are either freed or blown up? I am not sure, Obito said. I was not particularly interested in the fine details of the plan, which was probably deliberate on the part of the one possessing me. Yes, that makes sense, Sakura said. Anything you do know that's important, though? Oh. The mixture of Senju and Uchiha chakra is required to unlock the Rinnegan. That help? Interesting, especially because it means that Nagato is related to both, but not critical. Thanks, though. No problem. The air seemed to shiver. Sakura's eyes briefly glowed bright gold, and she blanched. That is not good. What? I just found out what happens when all the possessed people die. The 10 tails hunched over, and Naruto took the opportunity to gather himself and make a leap. In his jaws glowed a colossal tailed beast ball, cut with nature and wind chakra, and his claws glowed with impossibly sharp edges. Then the 10 tails roared. The sound was indescribable. Shijihide crashed beak first into the ground. Sakura, Sasuke, Kakashi, Obito, and Deidara were driven to their knees. Gaara, Bee, and Naruto collapsed to the ground, clutching their ears, as their partners reacted in atavistic terror. Blue dragons of light erupted from the 10 tails, soaring in their hundreds into the sky, and then converged on the 3 Jinchuriki and the Gold and Silver brothers' corpses. It was over in seconds. Gaara and Killer Bee lay dead, bodies next to those of the foes they had only just beaten, and Naruto was left gasping and clutching at the terrible wounds the forced extraction had caused him. At last! Sakura recovered first, and flickered over to Naruto. She began scanning him as the rest of the remaining shinobi from the strike force arrived. Wow, Naruto, I'm surprised you're still alive. This kind of spiritual trauma would kill almost anyone. Naruto grinned weakly. Runs in the family. Kakashi turned to Obito. This is critically important. Why does the extraction normally take so long? The wills of the demons need to be suppressed. Obito replied promptly. They don't integrate well, an extraction that fast will have thrown them into turmoil. They'll be trying to regain individuality. Sakura glanced up from her work closing Naruto's wounds. I can confirm that. There's black chakra aplenty, but all 9 of the bijou are thrashing around trying to escape. She looked down again. Damn it, the loss of that seal is causing chakra bleed. Your network is too used to having it there. I need the gap staunched somehow. Kakashi knelt down. I can do it, but I'll be useless for the rest of the battle. You know how to fix this kind of thing? What's the seal? No seal. Kakashi's eye contorted into the eternal Mangekyo. Shiranui. White fire ran across his body, then jumped to Naruto and concentrated on his chest. After a moment, the flames died and Sakura rescanned him wonderingly. He's fine. Better than fine, actually. His pathways are completely clear, there's no longer any leakage around where the seal used to be and it even cleaned under his fingernails. Kakashi slumped, muttering something about overexpensive techniques. Right. Naruto ran through 3 seals and slammed his hand into the ground. Ikemaru, let Nagato know we need him here now. Konoha Hospital, 5th floor, room 203. The silver fox vanished with a wash of air. Did Akatsuki keep the bodies of the other Jinchuriki around? Yeah. Deidara said. That's where I was taking Gaara's when you got me, yeah? It's in a room a lot further down than that main chamber, yeah. Sasuke, you and Deidara go and get them. Sakura, that problem with my seal, before. What does it mean? Basically, without the seal there, and especially without the bijou there, your body was pumping chakra to it as part of the normal circulatory cycle, and it was just leaking out. If Nagato resurrected the others? They'd die within a few minutes. Right. You can do a Jinchuriki seal, right? Yes. Sakura nodded, decisively. It's relatively easy to actually do the sealing. Well, after looking at yours anyway, the hard part is keeping the bijou under control. That won't be a problem. Sakura pointed into the sky suddenly. Look out! Something came hurtling in from the direction of Konoha, stopped 3 inches above the ground with a burst of repulsion, then fell onto its 4 metal legs. Obito blinked. That is a hospital bed. Nagato? I don't know who you are, and I'll find out later. Nagato said, turning to Naruto and Sakura. What is it? Why'd you bring the bed? Strict bed rest. Doctor's orders. Nagato answered. Tsunade is scary. Anyway, I assume it is urgent because the Ten-Tails is behind you. Yes. How many people can you resurrect in sequence with the samsara of life? Quite a lot, so long as they're well preserved. Who are they? Sasuke put Yujutoni on the floor next to them, and vanished again. Deidara did the same with Han. All the Jinchuriki apart from me. None of them damaged beyond death from extraction. That I can do. Nagato nodded. When? In order, Gaara first. You'll know when. Naruto closed his eyes, and when they opened again they were the slit yellow of his sage mode. And make sure you guys are safe. There's going to be a lot of explosions. Sakura flickered away for a moment, and came back with Gaara and B's bodies. Now, time to make history, Naruto said, and jumped forward. The first warning the Ten-Tails got that Naruto was still alive was when 2 Raisin Shuriken hit it in the face. It roared, turned and spat annihilation, but Naruto was no longer there. He shot over its form, hurled another Raisin Shuriken, then summoned a horde of clones and slammed 50 Great Ball Rasengan into it all along its length. Naruto hit the ground and shot off running, focusing on the things he'd seen in the moment after Millie was torn out of him. In that moment, the fragments of his mother's chakra which made up his seal had contacted him. Spoken to him, told him things, in the frozen time of his inner self. The most immediately useful thing was this: 2 chains of pure chakra shot out from Naruto's sleeves, entangling the Ten-Tails' right legs and letting him trip it with an almighty pull. He left them in place and charged forward, another Sage Raisin Shuriken preceding him. Did he just? Sakura asked. Kakashi smiled. Like mother, like son. Naruto jumped about a quarter mile into the air, and expended the last of his Sage Chakra with yet another Raisin Shuriken. Focusing, he drew in more of nature's chakra, and dropped back into the state within seconds. He'd been vulnerable, but he'd also been moving fast and high in the air. Now he was back to full Sage again. And by the feel of it, he'd nearly done enough damage. I'm one for overkill anyway. He multiplied himself, and launched dozens of Wind Rasengan in a volley. The Ten-Tails screamed in rage, its form roiled, and Naruto flung out another chakra chain with whiplash speed. It sunk into the beast's form, wrapped around something, and pulled. Sakura gaped. Nagato! Revive Gaara now! Nagato nodded. Samsara of heavenly life! A small ugly statue appeared, and green energy flowed from it to Gaara. Gaara blinked and sat up. What happened? The last thing I remember is dash. Sakura finished her sequence of hand seals, drew a seal on Gaara faster than the eye could follow, and activated it. As the one-tailed tanuki which Naruto had pulled out of the jubi fell towards them, it was caught in the effect field of the technique and drawn back into Gaara. Oh. This is becoming a habit. Gaara looked at his stomach, to check the seal. Every time I die, it turns out it is because someone has torn out my bijou. At least you're back. Again. Sasuke pointed out, putting foot down. Most people don't come back from the dead once. Is Shikaka alright? He is fine. Though he expresses the wish to get very drunk. I believe I shall permit him, once this is over. Sakura was writing again. Better get ready to revive Yujuto, Nagato. I don't think Naruto's heard of giving people warning. 3 more explosions came in quick succession. Sasuke drew the Raijin. Hey, Deidara. I think he could use some help. Let's see who causes the most damage. Uchiha, you're my kind of guy, yeah. Deidara pulled out a storage seal. Let's see, I've got 15 dragons and 230 birds. What should I start with? A shadow clone of Naruto appeared next to them. Hey guys, I'd appreciate some fire support. Oh good. Gaara? When I'm recharging Sage mode, you and the other Jinchuriki hit it with a tailed beast bomb or something equally destructive. Let the others know as they're revived. Gaara nodded. Will do. A barrage of railgun fire smashed into the Ten-Tail's face, followed by an entire explosive dragon. The clone squinted. Matatabi on the way in just a second. With that, he popped. Nagato glanced at Sakura. It would seem he has heard of giving people warning. Statistical outlier. No significance. A thunderous yell was heard, as the 2-tailed cat went soaring into the air. This is pretty cool. Shijide said, watching the fireworks. The raccoon next to him gave a chitter. What? We invented gunpowder. I appreciate the big bangs. A kind of chirp. No, I'm not serene. I'm not the crow's sage. I don't have to be serene. The raccoon just gave him a look. Stop it. That makes me uncomfortable. A close-space series of explosions echoed over the ravaged landscape. Oh, what? What the hell is that? Shijide abruptly glared, forestalling the next comment. Yes, I know it's the 5 tails. I just don't know what animal it is. The raccoon squeaked. That's what a Kirin looks like. Huh. You learn something new every day. Naruto. Sakura shouted during one of the brief periods when nothing was exploding, having just finished the seal on B's chest. A shadow clone appeared next to her. What is it? When you take the 8 tails out, then the Jubi will become a lot more stable since the vast majority of its power will be millies. Do you have a plan for that? Yeah. Naruto nodded. Oh, that reminds me. Who has the best emotional control, you, Sasuke, Kakashi, Deidara or Sai? Sakura thought for a moment. Sai. Good. Get him here via that crow, and set him up with a containment seal. The clone dispelled as Naruto's Sage mode ran out again, and 7 bijou balls hit the Ten-Tails in quick succession while he recharged. Up until this point, the various bijou he'd removed had been relatively small fractions of the whole. Even the 7 tails, now resealed into Fu, had been a mere 14%. But when Naruto sent his chains into the Jubi's form and pulled out Gyuki, a full third of its remaining chakra was torn out. The backlash was substantial, and more to the point what was left wasn't enough to sustain a 10-tailed form. As Naruto cracked the whip and sent Gyuki towards B's reviving form, he watched with apprehension. One of the tails vanished. The other 9 solidified, becoming Millie's familiar fox fur, and the rest of its body became hers. Nevertheless, there was still a lot of corrupted chakra in there. Rather than fighting the 10 tails, he was fighting a mind-controlled Millie. Screw it. You ready, Dad? After a moment, Naruto nodded, seemingly to himself. Good. One last Sage mode charge, and he shot forwards just as the 9-tailed demon fox set itself. Earth wall! The giant fox looked puzzled for a moment, then was launched 200 feet into the air by a rock wall which punched out of the ground. 50 clones appeared, and threw Wind Rasengan followed by Big Ball Rasengan. As the fox finally came hurtling back down, 6 full seconds after takeoff, Naruto span up a raisin shuriken and left a clone holding it underneath Millie. Flashing around with a pair of lightning-quick body flickers, he built a second one and threw it from above just as she landed on the first. The Ninetales thrashed about in pain as the pair of upper S wind techniques detonated at once. In that brief window when it not only would not, but could not move, Naruto fired off the chakra chain's barrier and trussed Millie up so she was immobilized. Sakura ran over. Sai's arrived, still asleep, and I set up the containment seal on him. Do you need me to do yours? Nah. Naruto walked forward to the enormous, thrashing muzzle, and placed a hand on it. Dad's got this. Sakura blinked. Pardon? Way back when she first got sealed in me, Dad put fragments of himself and Mom in the seal. Mom taught me how to do the chakra chains, and Dad's got the strength to reform my seal once. Naruto grinned. Good thing he never had to do it before now. No kidding. Sakura muttered. The 2 4-symbol seals blossomed on Naruto's torso, then hardened into their customary form. Millie dissolved into red chakra, which flowed into the seal, and, as the vast amount of chakra poured back into Naruto, black residue accumulated on the outside. Neat. Yeah. No non-Millie chakra allowed. Shove it into Sai, he'll annoy it more than it annoys him. Naruto grinned, then frowned. Hey, look! When she went from solid to intangible, something fell out. Hey, Sasuke! Mind checking what that was? Sasuke appeared next to it. Huh. It's that monk kid. Sora? Naruto checked. Wow. Wonder what he was doing in the 10 Tails. What was he doing? Kakashi asked Obito. Extraction takes time, alright? I kidnapped him, and then threw him into the statue's mouth hole. It had to get Kyuubi chakra from somewhere. After about 30 seconds, the process was complete. Sakura, hands glowing blue, gathered up the residual black chakra and flickered over to Sai to make him the container of it. This particular pair of 4-symbol seals had no convenient gap for leakage like the others. Safety first. Naruto, meanwhile, collapsed onto the floor of the crater with a grin. Good to have you back, Millie. Good to be back. Wow, I was angry when that nasty 10 Tails was in charge. Does it need counseling? Need it or not, now that it's sealed into Sai, it's going to get it. Hey, kid. The crow said, flying overhead. Yeah? One of those last death beams the 10 Tails fired scored a trench clear to the sea. You'd better move, or you'll be underwater. Naruto bounced back upright. Thanks for the warning. Anything else left down here? No, that Sora kid got moved out of the way by Sasuke, and now the Rinnegan user is reviving him. Cool. Naruto set off running, and jumped out of the crater complex as it began to fill. Ah, good. Sakura said, as she concluded the sealing process. That should have finally broken that illusion. Morning, Sai. It is morning? Sai asked. There must be a substantial amount of dust in the air, it is still quite dark. And it appears that I have obtained an Ekniixnak. Pardon? The opposite of a conscience. It is ranting at me about murder, death, being foiled, and so on. Quite repetitive. I wonder if it would respond to art therapy. Sakura shrugged. Worth a try. So, Kakashi said. All's well that ends well. Most of the Jinchuriki nodded, though some of them looked confused. Then Yagura punched Obito in the jaw. Whoa! Naruto said, surprised. What was that for? Do you have any idea how long I was mind-controlled for? Yagura said, twitching. I have to retake the academy entrance exam. So? Gaara asked. What do we do now? Go home? Yujito nodded. Good plan. Whoever you are, four-tailed Jinchuriki. Shikaka says that we should keep in touch via the chat room. I assume he will tell me what me means at some point. Deidara looked across at Han and Rashi. You guys will vouch for me, yeah? Of course. Han said expansively. You may have blown me up 47 times when you captured me, but that's all in the past. Rashi, let's go get a drink. We've earned it. Deidara, you're buying. What, yeah? You did blow me up 47 times. Yeah. Ah, Kakashi, Sarutobi said. Somehow I suspected Team 7 were at the heart of this. Kurenai told me what she knew, but she didn't know everything. Okay. This could take a while. Kakashi glanced over at the figure at the back of their group, who had a paper bag over his head. A long while. Turn the village upside down, Temari insisted. No stone must be unturned searching for clues as to what happened to the Kazakage. Why aren't you looking for him, Kankuro? Kankuro pointed. Temari looked north. What, oh? Arms folded, Gaara surfed back into Suna on the tip of a mighty wave of sand, his robes and hat impeccable. As the wave reached the outskirts, it tightened into a curl which swept down the main street. The window to his tower shattered as he reached it, and reconstituted behind him as the curl deposited him at his desk. So, he said to his startled secretary, what is next on the schedule? Sarutobi sat back. Remarkable. So, Akatsuki is no more? Yes. Nagato and Obito answered at the same time. Nagato continued. I am going to create a humanitarian organization, but to call it Akatsuki like my last one would be confusing. Well? Sarutobi steepled his fingers. Firstly, Obito Uchiha. You are to be checked by Inoichi Yamanaka, and if you pass that test one will call what you've been doing for the last 17-odd years convalescence. Thank you, Hokage. Obito bowed. More than I deserve. See that it is what you deserve. Nagato, why are you in that bed? I have to admit, I'm impressed you got it to walk, though. Bed rest. Unusual definition. The third pondered. Kakashi, you're assigned to keep an eye on Obito and sigh for signs of Jubi influence. Wait. Naruto said. What about him being the head of Team 7? That's the other thing. Sarutobi looked satisfied. The timing of this confrontation is most helpful. The Genin exams were yesterday. Team 7 is hereby dissolved, and Naruto Uzumaki, Sasuke Uchiha and Sakura Haruno promoted to Jonin. Report to the mission room tomorrow to find which teams you've been assigned to test and teach. Floored, the three newly promoted Jonin could only give stunned nods. And finally, sigh. Light duty for now. And regular counseling sessions. I understand. Sai said calmly. Mei and her bodyguards mirror traveled to the outside of the village courtesy of Haku. What is the reason for the alert? 2 large chakra signatures were detected. The sentry commander replied. They have been approaching slowly. Hey! A familiar voice called out. Anyone home? Ukataka? Mei replied. What are you doing alive? Long story. Hey, can we come in? We have swords. A quiet voice added. Nuabari, Kaburawari, Samahada and Kiba. What? Zabuza asked, then chuckled harshly. So you got Kisame? Actually, that was the 1 tails container and the 8 tails container, or so I am led to believe. Ukataka said. The 9 tails container tore apart Akatsuki's combination of the bijou, put all of them back in the right place, and generally caused enormous damage. 9 tails container? Mei said. You mean the boy with the orange fixation? Zabuza shivered. Oh, him. You know I fought him in Wave Country? Didn't go well. Probably a good thing we defaulted on that mission. Wait. Mei said, looking at the silhouettes firming out of the fog. Is that Yagura? Hello? The quiet voice said again. Wait, I recognize you. Everyone tensed. You're that genin who inspired me to become a ninja. Zabuza dropped his sword. Ukataka rubbed the back of his neck. He's kind of hazy about the stuff which happened while he was under mind control, which, for reference, starts about a day before he entered the academy. I could have helped. Jiraiya muttered. I have Sage Mode too, I could have broken that illusion. Sasuke looked over his 3 genin. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. I am your new Jonin sensei. Basically, I'm better than you. And if I have anything to say about it, I will be the only one better than you by the time I'm finished with you. A smash through 3 walls as he ran to the outskirts of the village. B. You better have a good reason for pretending you were dead. Look, bro, no diss, you know, but I had to take a holiday or I was gonna blow. And look who I found underground, when I was around. Yujuto kicked B in the back of the knee, and walked past him as he collapsed to the floor. I was the one revived first, B. Sorry for my long absence, sir. There was a death in the family. Whose? A asked. Mine. I know it's your family. But no, sir. I died. I was brought back just yesterday and my bijou resealed into me by some Konoha ninja. Huh. The Reikage frowned. Come on, I want to hear all the details of this. And then I can see if you've lost your edge in the sparring arena. I am Sakura Haruno. And I want to make very clear that your prowess as a ninja is not about who you were born as, or what family you have. It's about making the most of whatever talents you have and taking them to their fullest potential. Everything else does help, but help is all it does. What does this remind you of? Sai said. Murder, death, pain, kill, rage, hate. Really? Sai frowned, examining the card. It appears more like a butterfly to me. The contained mind of Toby thrashed around in utmost hatred. Now, let us try art therapy. What color would you like to start with? Rage, pain, kill, blood. Red, an interesting choice. It can symbolize the sunset, or autumn leaves. Deidara, Rashi and Han, arms linked across their shoulders, marched into IWA singing loudly and drunkenly. The sentries rubbed their eyes, sure they were seeing things, as Deidara punctuated the chorus with loud explosions from Shibuki. This is my boomstick, yeah, he shouted, then all three plunged into the next verse of the Hedgehog's song. Perhaps a red arrow? Nagato asked. Possible. Conan agreed. But arrows do have connotations of weaponry for civilians. Red, no, a sword is a weapon as well. Coming up with a new symbol is difficult. The clouds were a stroke of luck. Hi! I'm Naruto Uzumaki, Jonin. I'm the son of the fourth, I have more chakra than any other human being alive. I'm the container of the most powerful being on the planet. I am one with everything, and I am the main reason we have so many S-ranked nin in Konoha nowadays. And I was the dead last. So my expectations are a bit high for you lot. His three genin looked between themselves. One of them finally cleared his throat and spoke up. I'm Inari, if you remember. I was the guy in Wave who was really kind of depressed until you got me to stand up for myself. My aim is to make Wave a country with a Nina village again, so we can help ourselves. Works for me, Naruto said. Who's next? My name is Yukimaru. I want to make Guren proud of me. Short, to the point. Fine by me. And last? I'm Isaribi. I had to be cured of a transformation illness by Tsunade, which took a long time, but now I'm ready to learn to be a proper ninja. That's the spirit. Now go to training ground 12 tomorrow morning. The amount of breakfast you eat is up to you, though. You should know that I plan on only giving you lunch when the first training exercise you have is over. And that it'll be stressful, so you might be sick if you eat too much. Nobody wants that. Naruto waited until the three had left, then smirked. This was going to be fun.